Good evening, everybody. It's Bear with BearIndependent.com. Welcome to my backyard. There are meat birds over here being meat birds. There is child-related detritus right here, and this is a garden in progress. This is what some country folk would call a barn. I call it an abomination, but we haven't had the time or the budget to replace it with something else yet. In the background, you can hear a guinea hen, which is perhaps the most vile, disgusting creature ever created by the hand of the Most High. Second only to pregnant ewes, which are in my front yard, driving me absolutely nuts. Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Scissortail, which is bourbon whiskey bottled in Moore, Oklahoma, about to be consumed in my face. First and foremost, thank you, everybody, for tuning in. The popularity of the Bear Daily Brief is astounding to me. I am honored to be in your earballs right now, so thank you kindly for your access. Shout out to our patrons. You boys and girls are awesome. We could not and would not do this without you. Again, honored, humbled, amazed by the support that we're seeing on Patreon. Thank you very much. If you want the entirety of this report in text form to copy and paste to share out amongst the interwebs, feel free to come see us on Patreon. Just go to patreon.com, search for Bear Independent. Huge shout out to the dance monkeys at the Intel staff at Bear Independent for doing an awesome job, ongoing awesome job. The numbers that we're seeing on these live streams rival some of the largest channels on YouTube. That's incredible, and we are not a large channel. So thank you, dance monkeys. Y'all rock. If you have intel you'd like to share with us, shoot us an email, intel@bearindependent.com, intel@bearindependent.com, intel@bearindependent.com. There are precisely 0 A's in the word independent. Now, after we get done with the Bear Daily Brief, we will be doing Tactical Tuesday, which is our regularly scheduled live Q&A. All your prepper questions, all your prepper answers. We're also going to be doing the drawing for this tonight. This knife, somebody has bought and paid for. Fleming's Fabrications. These were $5 raffle tickets. I am very pleased to tell you we have sold 731 tickets at $5 a piece, raising a grand total of $3,695 for Grindstone Ministries. Y'all rock. That's freaking awesome. As is this knife. If I shaved, I would shave with it, but I don't shave because I'm not a woman or child. So we'll do the drawing for this after we get done with the brief, and then we will get into Tactical Tuesday. And all y'all's raffle tickets are right in here. So it's on the up and up. Everybody's name is written on the back of these, and we'll shuffle them, and then we'll do the drawing.
To point out that if they bought over the past couple of days, their name's still in there.
If you bought a ticket up to and including 12 p.m. Central Time today, your ticket is in that bucket. We closed the ticket availability at 12 p.m. Central today. So your tickets have been mailed out. Your half of the ticket has been mailed out, but I have your half of the ticket, so you are entered. Thank you for pointing that out. Web store staff, AKA wife. Awesome. All right, let's get into the brief. Overview. 31 March 2020. The number of confirmed cases worldwide and in the U.S. continues to climb. At the time of this reporting, 846,000 plus global cases, 41,500 global deaths, 176,500 global recoveries. U.S. cases, 180,789. U.S. deaths, 3,580. U.S. recoveries, 6,262. These numbers are going to continue to go up, as we've discussed previously, and we will address again in this body of work. These numbers are the actual numbers from 10 days, 2 weeks ago, because of the way the testing and reporting process currently works. This was the actuality 10 days to 2 weeks ago. These are just the numbers that we have to work from now. Unrest in Italy is still rising as they are nearing 4 weeks of lockdown. People are running out of food and money. There are multiple reports of people stealing food, even groups organizing to raid supermarkets. The gangs are exploiting people's hardships. There is talk of eruptions of socioeconomic issues and/or revolution coming. Due to the overwhelm in the hospitals, the quarantine is only expected to be extended even longer, potentially into mid-May. Next point, the Daily Mail reported, dead bodies are loaded into, quote, dead bodies are loaded into refrigerated trucks outside New York hospitals after 98 people died in 7 hours. Repeat, 98 people died in 7 hours, bringing the city's death toll to 790 and cases to 36,221. As Mayor de Blasio warns people may be fined $500 for not staying home, end quote. Several videos and photos of white shrouded bodies being loaded or already loaded inside the cool semis were on their website. Again, that's the Daily Mail reporting. St. Luke's Hospital, Monroe, president said that Monroe County was a hotbed for the virus, with more than half of admissions to the healthcare network Stroud Township Hospital for COVID-19. The Army Corps of Engineers is now planning temporary hospital sites in the county. Monroe County is due west of New York City. I bet you a lot of people have bugged out from the city, and or I know many people work in the city during the week. They have dual residency. They work in the city during the week. They come home to Pennsylvania on the weekends, dragging all that nasty with them. 2 or more eyewitness accounts. Continuity of infrastructure and supply chain. Repeating, essential business personnel, travel permissions, letters, placards, etc. are being issued nationwide to continue critical infrastructure operations and supply. As we've said repeatedly, you do not permit something unless you intend to restrict something. Legal and political. Updated list. Places seriously considering or already instituting essential services only travel restrictions, stay-at-home orders, shelter-in-place orders, or similar official proclamations. States: California, New York, Illinois, Ohio, Connecticut, Oregon, Louisiana, New Jersey, Indiana, Delaware, Michigan, Virginia, Wisconsin, Washington, New Mexico, West Virginia, Colorado, Idaho, Hawaii, Montana, New Hampshire, North Carolina, Alaska, Minnesota, Vermont, New Hampshire, Rhode Island, Kansas, Maryland, and Arizona, a total of 31 states. States with partial restrictions or select areas under restriction: Georgia, Florida, Pennsylvania, Texas, Alabama, South Carolina, Missouri, Mississippi, Tennessee, Oklahoma and the Oklahoma City and Tulsa areas, Wyoming, and Utah. A few states remain with no official orders, total of 6. Several places have enacted curfews, and few places, such as Marion County, Alabama, have established a 24-hour curfew that is essentially the same as a stay-at-home order, allowing necessary travel only. The First Nations peoples, the Crow tribe, has barred any recreational travel into the reservation. The Navajo Nation has told its people to stay home as much as possible and has enacted a curfew. Order enforcement, new item. In Oregon, violations of the stay-at-home order can be punishable by up to 30 days in jail and a $1,250 fine. In Maryland, it could be 1 year in jail and or a $5,000 fine. Now, I was on the phone with a brother earlier today, and he said, what about our First Amendment right, the right to peaceable assembly? And I said, yeah, You're absolutely right, except for the fact that a national emergency has been declared. FEMA is driving the bus. The powers that are afforded to FEMA and the federal government during this time supersede your constitutional rights. That sucks. But we're here now. I in no way support the fact that their federal authority currently allows them to do things that are outside of the guidelines set in place and enforced by the United States Constitution. But we are here now. These are things to consider. In Maryland, gardening is not considered essential, so people who leave their homes to get garden supplies are considered in violation of the order. North Carolina Sheriff's Association can find no legal authority to stop processing or issuing permits during an emergency. This applies to pistol purchase permits, new or renewed concealed carry permits, and other firearms permits. Montana has now enacted a 14-day self-quarantine for non-commercial travelers. Sticker Mule. That's where we get all our Bear Independent stickers from. And they send you lots of extra stickers. Or they send me lots of extra stickers that have nothing to do with what I ordered, including this mule from Sticker Mule. Now you know. If you're like, why is that thing on your cup? That's the answer. Military. Many states have activated their National Guards, including Missouri, Florida, Iowa. Oh no, 120-pound killer dog in my lap. Dad, I just want to be on television. Dad, I just want to interrupt your live stream. Hey, Dad. Okay, are we good now? Okay, we're good. And take two. Military. Many states have activated their National Guards, including Missouri, Florida, Iowa, Louisiana, New York, Rhode Island, South Carolina, Maryland, California, Wisconsin, Texas, and Washington. Now, please be aware, to the best of our knowledge currently, based upon hundreds of reports from National Guard members across the country, they are not being issued weapons or ammo. They are there to help in a medical capacity, logistics capacity, support personnel capacity only. If that changes, we will be the first to let you know. We have, by the hand of the Father, we have hundreds of contacts inside of the system that are reporting into us regularly every day, and we are doing our best to quantify and correlate this data for you and bring it to you every day. And so the moment I know something that changes from, hey, we're here to help, to, hey, we're here to hold rifles, believe me, I will let y'all know. We are not seeing that currently. In fact, we're seeing a lot of data to the opposite. Now, you could easily make the argument that that could change at any moment. Yes, that's true. A meteorite could come flying out of the sky right now and crush me through the back of the head and end this broadcast. Possible versus probable are two completely different things. While I do think it is possible for these things to happen, the probability varies greatly. Right now, I think the probability that the National Guard becomes armed and uses armed force against American citizens is extremely low. Repeat, extremely low. Subject to change. However, I don't think that is likely to happen. But again, if we hear something to the alternative point of view, I'll be sure to let y'all know. New point. A county judge says Texas National Guard troops will go door to door in Dallas neighborhoods to ask about coronavirus as residents are under shelter-in-place orders to stay home during the outbreak. They won't have weapons on them. I think we're getting to the point now where unreasonable search and seizure, again, all this goes out the window because of the state of emergency that's been declared. But I would be cooperative to the point that, hey, good to see you. How can I help you all, gentlemen? No, we don't know anything about that, and I'm going to have to ask you to leave now. And if you don't, you'll be trespassing. And in Texas, we're big fans of robust compost piles. So thank you, gentlemen, for your service. Carry on. Next. Many continue to note unusual military activity in the air and around bases, as is to be expected due to canceled drills, trainings, deployments, etc. Under the medical heading, remember, the reported number of positive tests is likely far lower than the current reality for several reasons. As we have reported repeatedly and stated earlier in this broadcast, we're approximately 14 days behind. The numbers that we're hearing right now are approximately 14 days behind. And that's just a function of, well, item one, only a minority of cases are tested at all, and therefore item two, the delay between administering the test and giving the results to the public is extremely long. The test must first be sent to a lab and then processed and then reported to the state health department, which then reports it to the public. So there's a lot of lag time in that. So 14-ish days. The numbers that we reported to you just moments ago, 180,000 US cases, is likely the number that we had 2 weeks ago. We very likely have far more cases right now. Now, the good news is if we have far more cases right now, that means the mortality rate is far lower than we think right now. Well, Bear, what if they're not reporting the actual numbers? What if they're not reporting the actual numbers? What choice do we have but to believe the numbers we've been given currently? Maybe they're not the actual numbers. I don't know. But working off the data we have, if we have far more cases than what's being reported and the deaths have stayed the same, then we have a far lower mortality rate. That's just math. Now, I could be completely wrong. They could be completely wrong. You could be completely wrong. That's why the powers that be are working so hard to collect this data so that they can correlate it and go back and look at it after the fact and come up with some real numbers on what happened. Because in the heat of the moment right now, nobody knows, myself included, really. And people that say that they do know, I'm fairly skeptical of, because it's impossible to come to a true understanding of these numbers right now because they're so dynamic. They're guesstimates. So that's why we're trying to be transparent with you all and tell you these are guesstimates. A 250-bed field hospital is being set up at Freeman Coliseum in San Antonio, Texas. That should be fun. Societal in general. Many in the Midwest have now noted increasing and/or overwhelming numbers of license plates from hard-hit areas. Some people are traveling hundreds of miles specifically to wipe out the stores. Others are leaving to escape the virus and/or the quarantine, but often fall ill after bugging out, possibly spreading the disease at gas stations, grocery stores, and others along the way. There have been a few instances of social unrest due to the fear of disease spread, as in one instance when some, quote, vigilantes cut down a tree to block the driveway of a man they wanted to quarantine. I believe that happened in Maine. Checkpoints are now beginning in various areas, from Rhode Island to the native tribelands to small towns. Chicopee, Massachusetts. Beginning 1 April, the Walmart will be enforcing a 200-person limit inside their store, and people will have to wait in lines outside if capacity is met. Non-essential areas, ergo clothing, toys, electronics, sporting goods, etc., will be closed off. Only essential areas will be allowed. And if you hear lots of extremely loud sheep in the background, it's because they're pregnant and or nursing babies, and they're really, really unhappy about it. And so they're letting us know by going "Meow" over and over again, which is why we're on the back porch, not the front one. So apologies, question mark. If you ever thought you were going to move to the country and have a nice peaceful life on your homestead, I hate to disabuse you of your illusions, but it doesn't work that way. It's just a different kind of loud out here. In Indiana, the number of first responders is dropping as they fall ill and isolate. It was reported that there are only 1,177 ventilators statewide. Under the heading of natural disasters, previously the Jonesboro, Arkansas tornado was mentioned. An update from that area. Quote, tornado damage is severe. A train was derailed. One bridge was taken out and many roads were closed due to highline wires and debris. It is amazing that nobody died. Due to the destruction, Jonesboro has a 7 o'clock curfew with a heavy police presence, but that is not preventing break-ins of damaged buildings. The community is coming together, end quote. All right, we're going to get into single accounts, insider intel, and miscellaneous. Again, the entirety of this report is available on patreon.com. Just hop on Patreon, look up Bear Independent. And I do want to give a quick shout out to one of our lovely and talented brothers, the NWA Prepper, great YouTube channel, also has a web store called adventurefrontier.com. You can find all kinds of cool things there, including our IFAKs, our blowout kits, active shooter response kits, the bare minimum kit, chainsaw, IFAKs, body armor. A lot of people have been asking about body armor. I buy my Spartan armor from adventurefrontier.com. And then, your bushcraft knives, I got this Spyderco from Adventure Frontier, all the things. So if you would, go over, tell my brother, the NWA Prepper, hello on his YouTube channel, and check out adventurefrontier.com. Go poke around. If you got some money burning a hole in your pocket, or you just want to get something nice for your lady, maybe it's your 10-month anniversary, which I think is the Spyderco anniversary, I'm not sure. Go check out adventurefrontier.com. Please tell him Bear sent you. Just go love on him. He's a great fella. Now, single accounts, insider intel, and miscellaneous. Long Island, New York. People are starting to get a little bit more desperate, and robberies are increasing. Per a nurse at St. Luke's Pocono campus, the closest Pennsylvania hospital to New York City, they are beginning to use fabric masks. Domestic violence is on the rise. There's a dog licking my belly button, and now my hand. Burlington, North Carolina. National Guard and ground troops are finally moving. The stay-at-home curfew is now active. People are not listening to the rules and continue to be out and about. The infrastructure for high-speed internet is getting a workout as more and more people work from home in North Carolina. Field techs are doing their best to keep everything up and running. I will note that today, anecdotally, my cell service was freaking terrible. Terrible. And I'm talking about my data speeds. My up-down speeds were terrible, and this is the first time I've really had an issue with that here, and so I'm wondering if that has something to do with what's going on with people working from home, high data usage, so forth and so on. Luckily, this is the speed of light. It's tremendous, believe me. The light, it beeps on and off, and it goes down a glass filament, 186,000 miles per second. It's incredibly fast. There is nothing faster. Believe me, it's tremendous. And I'm very, very thankful for it. It was wonderful. Incredible. Medical supplies are as low as everyone else's. This is in North Carolina. New point from someone in the automobile repair field. You got me, Dance Monkey. From somebody in the automobile repair field, the shutdown of manufacturing and shipping all over the world will cause parts availability to be a very big issue. Not just auto, but heavy equipment. We had a very rough time during the 2008 downturn. It took a year or more to get the parts issue fixed. Something to think about. If you need to do preventative maintenance on your stuff, order the stuff to do preventative maintenance on your stuff now. Last note in this column, the ACLU sent an email saying that they have filed lawsuits against 3 states, Ohio, Alabama, and Iowa, over their executive orders shutting down access to abortion care. Abortion care due to the COVID-19 outbreak, and that they are soliciting monetary donations to fund the suits. If there's any silver lining to this, it's the number of innocent lives that have been saved just through that. Just through that. And so, F you, ACLU, go pound sand. Proverbs 6, the shedding of innocent blood is an abomination to Father God. The end. Excuse me if I give 0 Fs, ACLU. And Scuttlebutt, RJ Reynolds, you know, that makes the cigarettes and the dip, has a 60-day inventory. 60-day inventory, and does not know how they are going to restock. And 2 weeks ago, Tyson, you know, that makes the meat birds, said they had a 60-day inventory and did not know how they were going to restock. Things to consider. There's a reason this channel is called Bear Independent, and the idea is to be as independent of the supply chain as possible, as independent of the system as possible. And I've had people say, well, that's a funny thing for a guy with a YouTube channel to say. Here's the cool thing. I can turn this off and peace out anytime I want to. And I'm out here. Those are meat birds back there. I'm not terribly worried about Tyson. So that's the idea. And the idea is to plus y'all up, to get y'all better, so you can be as independent of the fragile system as possible as well. And so, again, I'm very thankful that y'all are tuning in for these daily bear briefs. But there's 1,500 pieces of content between YouTube and Patreon over the last 2 years that delve into everything from homesteading to composting to sighting a rifle to 5.56 versus 7.62 39 by 7.6 versus 7.62 by 51 versus goats versus sheep versus how to pick a homestead property site. How do I get my spouse on board? How do you raise your kids up in this? What do I do for exercise? How do I grow salad greens? How do I butcher sheep? How do I blah, 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 blah? Because we live this every day and we document this every day. I'm not trying to entertain you. I'm not trying to create content for you that I hope you will like. I'm simply documenting the way that we exist. And so that's the idea behind this channel. And so thank you for watching this. And when you get done with this, maybe go click around, use the YouTube search bar. It is tremendous. Believe me. Like, hey, I wonder what Bear thinks about AR-15s. Bear Independent AR-15. Boom. What kind of plate carrier does Bear run? Bear Independent plate carrier. Boom. So forth, so on. All right, moving on to international. Poland, directors of hospitals are forbidden to talk publicly about how grim the situation is regarding PPE, staff and quarantine efforts, and saying that they could face disciplinary actions or firing on the spot. The Polish government passed a bill which is in contradiction to its constitution. Their quarantine restrictions have increased. In the United Kingdom, 1 out of 4 general practitioners and doctors are on sick leave or in quarantine. Testing efforts have been hampered by contaminated test kits. That's cool. By the way, like, comment, subscribe, share, do all that stuff. It's tremendous, believe me, with a thumbs up. Everybody tells me it's the best thumbs up. Disc confirmations. There was a typo in the 29 March report. The USNS Comfort arrived in Massachusetts was supposed to say Manhattan. Sorry, folks, from the Intel staff. The previously reported voltage fluctuation is false from a viewer. Quote, I work in transmission power system control and formerly in distribution as an electrical engineer. 1, I have no logs of transmission line voltages outside tolerance or measurements to support that theory, at least for a large portion of Oklahoma. I probably know this person. We've probably at least crossed paths. Interesting. 2, in October and April, higher voltages are normally observed on the transmission every year due to reduced electricity demand, aka load. It is the opposite of summer and winter demand peaks where lower voltages are normally observed. And 3, the transmission voltage will not affect customers because of voltage regulation equipment at the substations and on distribution lines. And it was this 3 that made me think that this person does in fact know what they're talking about. Substation transformers have load tap changers, or LTCs, that regulate the distribution voltage, and automatic voltage regulators and capacitors perform similar control on the distribution lines. And so thank you, dance monkeys at Bear Independent Intel staff, for being open and honest when we do get something wrong. Greatly appreciated. Y'all are tremendous, and believe me, the best. Actionable. Contact your representatives to protect gun stores from closure. Be aware of the huge influx of scams, Netflix account issues, stimulus benefits, fake coronavirus testing, etc. I think it's just a matter of time before you start to see census scamming as well. I'm not sure how that's going to work yet, but I know that the census was designed to be highly digital this year, plus the whole COVID-19 thing, so I would just be on the lookout for that. Support your medical care workers. They are bearing the brunt of this and could really use your encouragement. Agreed. Stay aware. In some areas, there have been reports of police impersonators pulling people over and asking for travel papers. One woman was followed home. You should have good commo in this case. And really, you shouldn't be out and about anyway. But you should have good commo in this case, that if something like that does happen, you can call somebody, your husband, your wife, your next door neighbor, whatever, and say, hey, this is going on and it feels a little hinky. I need some backup. Not to engage in force, but just simply to have another pair of eyes there. When people are behaving badly, they don't like lots of eyes watching them. So, and luckily, our communications grid still works. Praise the Father. But this could be a ham radio or a simplex, radio on the GMRS, FRS, MERS, whatever. Silver linings. 15 EMTs and doctors sent from Poland to Lombardia, Italy to help in field hospitals. Prusa Printers, a 3D printing company in the Czech Republic, developed a face mask that's already being used in the field. The files are free to download and distribute. Prusa, P-R-U-S-A. P-R-U-S-A. The files are free to download and to distribute. Denver Mattress has stopped production of beds and bedding and has started manufacturing masks for healthcare and first responders. By the end of the week, they hope to be making 10,000 masks a day. That's freaking awesome. Gardens, gardens, gardens. Those who have never had them before, those who never grew edible plants, and some experienced folks are expanding what they already have. It appears that one viewer has over 15 grow boxes going and is building a hydroponics system inside of a townhouse. That's freaking awesome. The Dairy Queen in Sparta, Wisconsin has a sign that reads, free meals for the elderly starting Tuesday the 31st. That's awesome. That's awesome. Good job, DQ. Now I want a DQ cone. They're the best cones. In Kokomo, Indiana, where 14,000 workers were laid off at FCA and GM factories, there will be a long-shuttered GM electronics facility manufacturing many thousands of ventilators. That's awesome. One person has spent 2 whole weeks with his sons. They play Minecraft, work out together, do schoolwork, and take afternoon walks. One viewer says, our local career tech center nursing program donated all of their teaching supplies of medical gear to the local hospital. That's awesome. Another said, CPS finally delivered a perfect fit foster daughter. Praise Yah. That's awesome. Churches along the coast, and particularly in the Pacific Northwest, are coming together to pray daily at 1700 or 5 p.m. for help, H-E-L-P, healing, encouragement, leadership, and protection. Also, they started a video chat Bible study group. That's awesome. And a brief note, Grindstone Ministries, our charitable organization, is still on the hunt for an attorney and a grant writer. We've gotten a lot of emails from y'all already. I've passed those emails to Renee because she's awesome and a total badass. And so if you haven't gotten a response from me, please understand that it's not because I don't like you. It's just because that's not my wheelhouse. The one thing that I have to do at Bear Independent is talk at the iPhone. If Renee talked at the iPhone, it would be Renee Independent, and y'all would be like, WTF, what's going on around here? Her job is badass admin stuff, and so she is working on that. So thank you to everybody who has already reached out. I've forwarded that info to Renee, and who is the Grindstone admin. not to be outdone by Monica, who is the Bear Independent admin, who is also a total badass. But if you'd like to work with us at Grindstone, if you're an attorney or a grant writer, shoot me an email, November Tango X-ray Mike Alpha Golf at gmail.com, November Tango X-ray Mike Alpha Golf at gmail.com, ntxmag at gmail.com. Also, if you need some good livestock guardian dogs and you're in the Northwest Arkansas area, shoot me an email at that same address. What are them little fluffy butts? What breed are they?
Pyrenees.
Pyrenees, thank you. Pyrenees, awesome, awesome dogs raised by awesome people with awesome papered parents. They're legit. So if you're in the market for a livestock guardian dog, please let me know. I can probably hook you up with somebody who's worth knowing anyway. Now, Patreon. Thank you to our patrons. The entirety of this report right here is on Patreon in text form. So you can copy, paste, share, kick it out there to whoever, whatever floats your boat. So thank you to our patrons for supporting us. We would not do this. We could not do this if it wasn't for our patrons. I don't think most people understand what goes into maintaining a presence at this level on YouTube and producing this much content. There's a whole staff of people that are involved, and Bear Independent is much more than me talking at the iPhone. So thank you, and thank you to the patrons for making this viable. And our Patreon isn't just hey, you love us, so give us $1. There's a minimum of 24 exclusive pieces of content per month there. And when I say exclusive, I don't mean like, here's a picture with a little write-up. I mean videos, mini consults that are pushed out for all of our clients at Patreon, behind the scenes stuff, Homie Tuesday with my wife every Tuesday to get a female perspective on preparedness, Men's Group Monday live streams where we hop into the Word. We're at the end of Proverbs right now, and a lot more stuff, exclusive live streams there. And it's the whole idea is to try and over-deliver value as much as possible. Check us out at the web store, bearindependent.com. The web store there, there's stickers, patches, t-shirts, IFACs. We're doing great on IFACs. Bless y'all, everybody who's been putting in orders. We're shipping IFACs like crazy. We have all the stuff. We're not shutting down production anytime soon. And we did just get in some Marpat. So if you want a Marpat IFAC, they're not even live on the internet yet, but you can email me and I'll make you some Marpat Bearfacs and Bear Minimums. They're legitimately the most tremendousest ever. Thumb drives, the scriptures. We just ordered 120 copies of the scriptures, and we have more seeds inbound. We had 40 seed packets from the Burning Hearth Homestead, grab bags, sold out in 1 hour. 1 hour. Another benefit of being a patron, we announced it on Patreon first, and they were gone in an hour. We have 20 more coming, and when they get here, I will announce those on Patreon as well. So if you're looking for heirloom organic seeds that support another fine ministry, the Burning Hearth Homestead, great place to get them. Now, let's talk about what we did today. We filled orders. I had client calls. I packed Bearfacs. I played drums this morning, which was freaking wonderful. Oh my gosh, it's so good. New drum heads, new maple snare drum, new Sabian AA 16-inch bright crash, new 20-inch China on the way. Oh my gosh, it was so good, so good. Got the kit mic'd up, my muffs on. Oh, it's awesome. Played drums. I laid in my hammock, and it was good.
You did?
I did. While I was on the phone with a brother, I laid in my hammock.
Slacker.
Yeah, slacking hard. Coordinated with brothers, shot a YouTube video, and I was on the local news in, I think it's Fox 44 in Waco that will air tomorrow. So if you're in Waco, hey, grab that footage for me and email it to me. That'd be cool. So that was fun. There's a lot of people who are like, hey, maybe these preppers aren't crazy. And they're like, maybe they were onto something. We should talk to them. So that was fun. That's what I did. And then we're gonna pray. And then we're gonna kick off Tactical Tuesday by raffling off this knife.
I get to draw the name.
You get to.
I wrote all these names.
You get to draw the name, and then we'll open up the comments for question and answer.
Okay.
Cool. So let's.
Well, I gotta go pick up the groceries. So I'm gonna draw the name.
I'm gonna pray.
Okay.
And then you can draw a name.
Let's do this.
And then you can go do whatever it is you got to do.
Okay.
Father Yah, thank you for everybody within the sound of my voice. Thank you for a good day. Thank you for a day that did not seem apocalyptic. Thank you for an awesome family, an awesome wife, awesome staff, awesome brothers, Father, and an awesome opportunity to be of service to you in whatever capacity that I can be. Father, I'm thankful that these reports are meaningful to people that we've never met and maybe never will meet, but that we could use this time to be a benefit to one another and to hopefully bring glory to you, Father. Thank you for being sovereign over all things, that even as the world just seems absolutely screwy, Father, we still know who's driving the bus, that we're going to get where we need to go because you're in charge. Father, thank you for redemption through Yeshua. And Father, if there's anything within the sound of my voice that's not of you, we rebuke it in his name. I pray that you just continue to be indwelt in us, that you'd keep us lit up, that we would be an example to others, that you would use this time to testify, to create testimony with people, to create conversations that glorify you. Father, that you would use us for your will, whatever that might be. We pray all these things in Yeshua's name. Amen. Whew. All right. Bum, bum, bum. Why, hello, wifey.
Hello. You gotta turn on the comments.
Oh, I got to turn on the comments. You're right. And live chat. Crazy Canuck. Shalom, Brochaim. And thank you to whoever dropped us $81. You guys are awesome.
Yeah.
All the amens. Scott Brooks. You better not win, Scotty Brooks.
Yeah, so I get to draw the name because guess what I did all day today? Yes, I woke up to 130 orders out of the store.
Praise Yah.
Praise Yah.
Praise Yah.
But yeah, I had to get all the names on the raffle tickets so we could do this drawing and not leave anybody out.
Gordon, shalom, brother. Man, we got a star-studded audience this evening. Look at this. Look at this thing. Nope, this raffle is over, and next week, Badger, shalom. Next week, I will be announcing our next raffle to benefit Grindstone, and it's also super cool. But I figured I would give my wife a break for a week. All right.
Okay. You gonna hold it up? Or you just want me to hold it up? Shaky, shaky, shaky.
Shaky, shaky. It's going. It's going. Drum roll, please.
Da-da-da.
Tommy, shalom. Phelps.
You may not have your ticket yet. Robert Hartman.
Robert Hartman. Robert Hartman. Oh, man, I hope you're here, Robert Hartman. Robert Hartman, you have 72 hours to email us, and we will confirm bona fides. Earl's daughter, shalom, sister. Robert Hartman, you have won this knife. Congratulations, Robert. Save this.
I am.
Put it somewhere safe.
Okay.
James Cipriano. That
And
is.
y'all, like, seriously, bless y'all.
Yeah.
Bless you.
$3,695 raised for charity. And I'll tell you, Fleming's, Big John, 0. Fleming's Fabrication, there's his maker mark up there. You guys have to check out Fleming's Fabrication. He just makes incredible stuff. I mean, it's obnoxiously good stuff. Here's well, here's the bear report. Oh, well, I messed up. There we go. There we go. It's yeah. I don't know. Is Robert watching? I hope he's watching. You did save his ticket, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Got you, Robert.
Robert Hartman.
I'm gonna go
So
put it inside so it doesn't get lost.
here, put this with it.
And I'm gonna go pick up the stuff.
James, bless
And if
you,
you're still
brother.
going, I'll join you when I get back.
Copy. I'm
Shalom, people.
Jeff Gray. Shalom. Must be present to win. No. Justice Militia, I don't remember. All the details are on the Bear Independent website, but it's, I don't remember. Yeah. Yeah, it's a phenomenal knife. So, all right, stand by. I'm going to put a hoodie on and then pour myself another drink, and we will officially start Tactical Tuesday. Give me 1 minute, 2 minutes, no more than 120 seconds. Everybody, talk quietly amongst yourselves. Philip S., bless you, brother. Thank you. Also, truth in advertising, I'm going to go pee off of my porch because I live in the country and I can do that. Oh, just a wee little squirt of pee. All right. So, Tactical Tuesday. Shalom, everybody. Let's talk. Julie! Ozark Geek, shalom. Aname, aname. Wow, the chat just goes by. What do you want to talk about? How long did it take for the knife to be made? Ashley Storm, shalom. It took about a month from the time we started talking about it to the time that I received it. And I don't know how many countless hours he put in on it, but it's an absolutely gorgeous piece of work. And one of the things that I discussed with him was that I did not want it to be simply a showpiece. I wanted it to be a badass functional knife. Vehicle first aid kit. Garrett, that's a great question. Let's answer that. So vehicle, Apex, shalom. Vehicle first aid kit. So in my vehicles, I have, on Amazon, they sell a kit called the M Fasco. Mike, Frank, Alpha, Mike Foxtrot, Alpha, Sierra, Charlie, Oscar, M Fasco. And it's about 80 bucks on Amazon. It's a little orange carry case. And it has a good assortment of stuff in it. I like it because it has instrumentation at the $80 level. It has a stethoscope. It has a blood pressure cuff. It's got a handful of other things. It's got a good amount of gauze in it. And then I add to that more tape, more gloves, more gauze, namely 5x9s and a bunch of 1-inch surgical tape and some 2-inch surgical tape and 20 pairs of gloves. Gauze, tape, gloves, disinfectant is primarily what you're going to go through treating something that requires more than a Band-Aid. So gauze, tape, gloves, disinfectant, add all that stuff to it. And then also in my kits on one end, I add tourniquets, usually 2 SWAT T tourniquets and 2 CAT tourniquets. And while I really like the Gen 7 North American Rescue CAT tourniquets, they're like 30 bucks. They're great. They're what we use in our blowout kits. But if you can't afford those, you can get 2 Recon Medical Gen 3s with aluminum styluses for 30 bucks as well. They're about 15 bucks a piece. And I have lots of those things, probably a couple dozen of those, and I really like them. And in fact, I'm quite comforted by the fact that the stylus is aluminum. I don't see it breaking at any point. In fact, I trust it as much or more than a plastic stylus. And so I add tourniquets. I add, like I said, gauze, tape, gloves, disinfectant. And then the other thing that I've recently been adding to my vehicle kits is a pulse oximeter, about 20 bucks. You can get them on Amazon, a pulse oximeter that gives you your blood oxygen level, just goes on the end of your finger, little cordless thing. It's also very convenient for getting somebody's pulse, not just what their blood oxygen level is, but it's much easier to get a pulse by putting that thing on the finger than it is by trying to count for a pulse or by, in conjunction with a pressure cuff. So I like that. And then oral rehydration salts, as well as robust OTC meds, Advil, acetaminophen, Tylenol, whatever, naproxen sodium or Aleve, whatever you got. Some Benadryl is very good to have in there as well. And so that's what I run in my vehicles. All of my vehicles have a kit, that same kit that I just described, or something very similar. And then I also have in my truck, I have the original Gen 0.0 Bear Fac in there as well. And we've actually saved, I say we as if we were there, our kits have been responsible for the saving of several lives for motor vehicle accidents. Many police departments run Bear Facs in their cruisers because they're purpose-built for trauma, arterial bleeds, puncture wounds, the same kind of stuff you see at a bad MVA. So a lot of police departments are running Bear Facs in their cruisers, and civilians are running them in their everyday drivers and in their rock crawlers, their 4x4 Jeeps and Broncos and Suburbans and stuff like that as well. Because, if you have a compound fracture, you can at least stabilize it with that kit. And so if you look at what I do to the MFASCO trauma kit, is I basically give it similar capability to what you have in a Bear Fac, so that you can plug holes, that you can apply pressure and stop bleeds, that you can pack wounds, so forth and so on. So that's what I personally carry in my vehicles. I have that tricked out MFASCO kit, as I just described to you, and then I have the Gen 0.0 Bear Fac, the original one-of-one Bear Fac in there that actually is designed to carry 2 cat tourniquets on the outside of it, plus a whole host of stuff on the inside of it. And it's so terribly unique that I love it. I will never make another one, and it's not for sale. So great question. Let's see what we got next. Live chat. Thoughts on bows for people who aren't old enough to buy guns? Ethan, I think if you're going to use a bow in an offensive/defensive capacity, you better be damn good with it, because Chris Mills, bless you, because Puka, yes, thank you, because if you shoot at me with a bow and you don't hit me, I'm gonna be pissed. So that being said, for putting meat on the table, absolutely. But like anything, look, this thing looks cool, but it means nothing if you don't know how to run it. Same as the bow. And so it's not so much the equipment as it is the training. So I think if you can't legally possess a firearm, then a bow is a viable option, but you really get into a dangerous territory if you intend to use a bow in an offensive capacity. So, Aaron Ingersoll, you're welcome then. AR or AK, you can only have one. Go. AR-15 all day, every day. And here's why. I think your battlefield pickup is better. I think that they are equally reliable nowadays. And everybody I know runs ARs. They all run ARs. And so the nice thing about that is that if you run dry, I can pull this off of my chest rig and hand it to you, and you're good to go. In fact, we have people who we know and love who were AK operators, and then as we got deeper into doing FTXs with the tribe, they're like, you know what? I'm going to switch back to an AR because, and honest conversation with the brother, hey man, I will carry a spare AK mag for you. Are you going to carry a spare AR mag for me? So it just complicates the supply chain. It complicates logistics in the field. If everybody's running the same caliber, everybody can take the same magazines, things get a lot more cohesive and resupply is much easier. So yeah, I like the AR-15 for that reason more than the AK. But if everybody on your crew ran AKs, I'm cool with it, man. Go for it. There's something nice about sending a 30 caliber hunk of lead downrange. So Badger, good work. Get him. LPVO or red dot for general use self-defense? Ginger Beast, great question. Let's answer that. All right, so I did a video on 6'5" Creedmoor on Patreon. So low power variable optic versus red dot. It's entirely dependent upon your situation. Out here, the longest clear shot is roughly 75 yards. The red dot will easily get that done. Most shooters can competently shoot a red dot easily to 100 yards. Most can shoot out to a couple hundred yards, no problem. Where I like having a low variable power optic like this is for positively identifying a target, say at dusk or at dawn or on the move. Now, my eyes aren't what they used to be, and so the nice thing about something like this is that I can dial it up to 6 power, 7 power, 8 power, and say, oh, that's not a coyote, that's my dog, I better not shoot that. Or that's not an intruder, that's my brother, I better not shoot him. And so I like the low variable power optic for positive identification of the target a lot more than I like a red dot. That being said, I have many ARs, had many ARs prior to the tragic boating accident. And of those many ARs, the two that are my go-to, one has a Sig Romeo 5 on it that I love. Yes, it's a cheap optic, but it just rocks. It's freaking awesome. Bell 412, heading south-southwest. Get out of my lap, dog. Go eat that helicopter. Low, 600 foot above the ground, and not moving terribly fast. Interesting. Hey, goat, attack that helicopter. I like the red dot. I have two go-to platforms. One's the red dot, the other is a low power variable optic. And so nowadays, honestly, and without rule of law or, today, what we're experiencing, I find myself grabbing what I call my recce rifle, and I have an entire video on this, RECCE recce rifle. I found myself grabbing this rifle much more than the red dot rifle because I can PID, positively identify a target at much greater distances with that. And I can also use it just simply to gather intelligence. Hey, what is that thing over there? And I can see that better with magnification than without magnification. But it's really user preference. I'm telling you, the primary arms 1 to 8 is probably the best optic out there for this kind of thing right now. User preference matters, but that primary arms 1 to 8 is just slicker than snot, man. It's a great piece of kit. And it's what's going to be replacing this Vortex 2 to 7 on top of this gun right now. So, do you use Phelps? Do you use a truck gun? Do you think it's worth building an AR pistol just for that? Let's talk about that. So I have a truck gun, and that truck gun that I have is the PSA 16-inch pencil barrel that I reviewed that has a has that Sig Romeo 5 on it. It's not a short-barreled anything, but it's my gun that's in my truck with my plate carrier and a day pack. And if I've got to do the things while I'm out on foot, I now have a rifle with me to do the things with. And do I think it's worth building an AR pistol just to keep in a truck? Man, only you can decide that. If you already have 4 or 5 ARs and you already have all the food that you need to buy and you have your long-range game squared away and you've invested thousands of dollars in equipment and training into your ham radio and HF communications, and you've taken all the TCCC classes and you have all the equipment, and you're stocked deep on resupply on your sanitation and your medical and your OTC meds and prescription meds and antivirals, antibacterials, and you have all the things, and you just gotta do something with another $1,000, you have my permission to build a truck AR pistol. But if you can't check the box on all those other things, I don't think it's necessarily worth building an AR pistol for your truck. I know where you live, but a lot of people would have legality issues with that anyway, and you don't need an AR pistol. And then really, if you're going to get into an AR pistol, then you get into the question of caliber. And if you're going to go with a short barrel, then it might make sense, if you're going to run it suppressed, to go with 300 blackout. And now if you go with 300 blackout, you got a whole new caliber, a whole new system, all new ammunition to buy. You don't have interchangeability and compatibility across platforms, blah, 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 all because we had to make a truck gun. And so my answer is it depends. And it depends on how well squared away you are in every other category, because my truck gun is a 16-inch pencil barrel with a dot sight on it, and it does freaking great. So, live chat. Shaloha, Joe Knox. Thoughts on fish farming? I don't know much on fish farming. If you're talking about like aquaponics, it's something that we've looked into here. In fact, this side of the barn over here is trash. The roof is caved in, and one day when it's not the end of the world and I can get building materials and I'm not incredibly busy, I'm gonna knock that down and build a greenhouse on the side over there. And when I do, I would like to use water tanks in there as solar batteries, thermal batteries, and then put fish in those water tanks in an aquaponics setup. And so we also have a pond, a stock tank on site, and we were going to contact the Department of Environmental Conservation this spring and talk to them about what we needed to do to turn that stock tank into habitat. And then the freaking world lost its mind because of the Debizzle flu. So that didn't happen. So, yeah. Good question, though. 45 cal will knock down anyone, armor or not. Not necessarily. Says the guy carrying a 45 right now. Bullets do weird things. I think that's one of the things that people need to understand. Bullets do weird things. There are people that have been shot in the face and the round has gone around the side and then up, and they just had nothing but superficial wounds. There was a guy who got shot right here, and the round went through and went out the back of his head, and he was still up and walking around. Guy lived. There was a guy who was shot 18 times with 147 grain 9mm jacketed hollow points in the chest cavity and lived. Like, bullets do weird things, especially in the box, in your chest region and in your gut area. The hydrostatic shock, as that bullet goes in, that flesh will expand and it creates a channel before the bullet gets there. And a lot of times your internal organs will move out of the way because of that hydrostatic shock, especially with a slow moving round like a 45. And so you'll get excellent penetration, excellent expansion, and nothing but a flesh wound. Says the guy carrying a 45. So bullets do weird things, man. And so we shouldn't all just depend on, I mean, there's a reason 30 rounds fit in this thing, because it might take 30 rounds. And depending on who you are and what you're doing, it can. Okie shalom. What one book on preparedness would you recommend as a must read? Love your daily reports. Keep up the tremendous work. What one book on preparedness would you recommend as a must read? Man, I can't pick one. What's wrong with you, man? Not one more inch. First of all, the Bible, because that's the most important prep that you can possibly have. The disposition of your eternal soul. None of the rest of this shit matters if you don't have that squared away. Excuse my bad word. Like, for real. You can have the coolest guns and the nicest hat and the best magazines, and it doesn't matter if your ass is going to burn in damnation for the rest of eternity. So let's start with that. And then a really good entry-level book to intermediate-level book is Survivalist Family, Prepared Americans for a Strong America by Joe Fox, who also happens to be of Viking Preparedness, who also happens to be my pastor and my brother and my friend. But it's a really good book on the subject. And then if not those, I think a lot of preparedness is... Foxfire is a great book. Yeah, Mr. Greblin, you're absolutely correct. I thought you would suggest Pastor Joe's book. Yeah, you caught me. Shalom. You have a ham radio license. We'll talk off camera, Mrs. Hermit Hill. Bear, I just started canning this past weekend. 4 roasts, 3 roast beef. Awesome. What is your favorite thing to can? Pasta sauce, green beans. We can a lot of green beans. Pickles. We can a lot of pickles. Creamed corn with sweet corn. We can a lot of that stuff. What else? Salsa. Make a lot of salsa. All the things, man. Ghost preparedness. I learned how to can spaghetti and meatballs. That's awesome. My pickles never seem to come out right when canned. Ashley, I don't know. That's weird, though. I can lamb. That's awesome. Can bone broth. Yep. Greetings from the Spanish hillbilly. Shalom, brother. Hey, Bear and wife, just getting started out on a land homestead. Give us the one-on-one on chickens. It's just the two of us. How many should we start with? That kind of thing. George, great question. Let's do the intel dump on chickens. Stand by. Okay. So there's 3 things you got to understand about chickens. And if you can get this through your head, you'll be okay. The first is they make eggs. The next is they make meat. The last is they die. Chickens are not permanent fixtures on the homestead. They rotate in and out. You don't have the right flock. You have the right now flock. They come and go, bro. They come and go. And they come and go because of predation, because of disease, because of malnutrition, because sometimes they just freaking drop dead, because of natural selection, because you cull them and eat them. They just, in my experience, a flock of chickens is ever changing. You're always adding some and you're always taking some away. That's how I did it when I was growing up. That's how we do it here. And so the first is they lay eggs. The next is they make meat. The last is they die. Now, chickens need a place that's dry and above freezing. And they like to be out of the wind when they're up overnight as well. You need that place should be wired in so that predators, and all kinds of predators, weasels, hawks, owls, raccoons, possums, armadillos, snakes, just everything can't get in there. Bobcats can't get in there. So good welded wire. Chicken wire is okay, but welded wire works better. Welded wire is much more expensive than chicken wire because it's much better than chicken wire. But welded wire, small, works well. Get good chicks. Pay good money for good chicks. Banties are fun to look at, bantams, but other than that, they're basically useless. They're too small to even bother with killing to eat them. They lay little tiny eggs. They're enjoyable to look at, but that's about it. I like australorps, black australorps, barred rocks, brahmas, and I'm enjoying these freedom rangers, these guys back here, which is an intentional meat bird. Those are all good breeds. Rhode Island Reds, and there's another red, a New Hampshire Red as well, are also good, all good dual-use birds, meaning that they will lay you eggs, and then if they're boys, you shoot them in the head or just cut their heads off with an axe and then eat them, clean them and eat them. And then if they're girls, when they quit laying, you do the same, clean them and eat them. So that's what I mean by dual-use birds. A good number of birds to start with, if there's just the two of you, is probably 6 or 8 birds, understanding that you'll probably end up with 4 to 6 birds, just cause. We have upwards of 80 birds on property right now, probably. And get out of my face, mosquito. And a lot of those are meat birds, but a lot of them are laying hens, and we get so many eggs. We keep the neighborhood in fresh eggs. I have probably right now in my house 3 to 4 dozen eggs in my house right now, to say nothing of the ones that have been laid today that we'll find tomorrow morning. So they make lots of eggs, and they keep making lots of eggs, and they're going to keep making lots of eggs. So learn to cook. And then you might consider getting an incubator as well if you'd like. We use the little homemaker incubators. They hold about 15 eggs each, and we incubate our own eggs. And we have a farmyard, we just call it like a farmyard mix of chickens. Get out of my face, dog. Hey, Dad, I ate all the bad things and I scared away all the bad guys. Can you rub my head now? Thanks, Dad. I did such a good job, didn't I? Don't lick my face. Hashtag quarantine. So, I would start there with chickens. Another vital thing to understand with chickens, and highly recommended to do, is that you have your chickens in a coop and then you put them in a run. And when you put them in a run, use sawdust, anything other than walnut and cedar, but especially walnut, because walnut is poisonous. But pine shavings are great, sawdust, whatever you got. When I ran the wood shop I was at, I would take the planer shavings from planing down beech hardwood, was tremendous. Anyway, put that in the run. Chickens turn sawdust and wood shavings into soil, right? And so let them get out and dig through there and turn all of that stuff into soil and then compost it. And a phenomenal way to start with backyard or small scale agriculture is chickens, compost, and raised beds. Those 3 things. They're all complementary to one another because the chickens make the stuff that goes in the compost pile. You compost that, Then you'd use that compost, you sprinkle it on the raised beds, you grow food, you eat some of the food, you feed the scraps and the leftovers to the chickens that then make more compost. The compost goes in the raised beds, and it just all starts firing on all cylinders. And so we've had excellent luck repeating that around the country as a system. So highly recommended on that. And then if you eat things with paws, I do not, but if you eat things with paws, rabbits, or if you want to make dog food and let your dog eat things with paws, meat rabbits are a great addition to the compost pile. Their manure is not hot. Like chickens, it has to sit for a while. There's so much nitrogen in it that it can burn your vegetables, your plants, whatever. It's too hot. Well, rabbit manure is not. It's just little pellets of awesome fertilizer, and it can be used immediately and or composted. And when we had rabbits, we had our rabbits in cages with wire mesh cages in the same enclosure as the chickens. And they would do their thing. It would fall through the bottom of the cage. The chickens would then scratch through that and incorporate that into the soil, into the bedding, so forth and so on, and made absolutely gorgeous compost. Then I guess the last thing I'll say about bedding for chickens is we do what's called the deep bedding method. When it starts to smell, that means add more carbon, and that can be straw, hay, cardboard, wood chips, pine shavings, grass clippings, leaves, whatever you have, add more carbon. And that carbon becomes the bedding that breaks down, it absorbs the smell, which is really just ammonia, which is a function of the liquid waste and the solid waste interacting with one another and decaying. The carbon absorbs all of that, and then it breaks down, and you get stuff the color of my hoodie for soil in there, and it's absolutely fabulous. And so if you're gonna get chickens, highly recommended you use them to their full capacity, which is to eat your leftovers and turn it into meat and eggs and soil. So, great question. Who be giving me 10 doll hairs? Greg Miller, I hope the FCC starts doing online tests. It'd be hard to, you know what, Greg, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. I hope they start doing an online test as well. Now, we are technically in a declared state of emergency, which means technically right now you don't need a license, but it also means technically you're gonna get on there and start jacking around and make everybody that does have a license a little upset because you're on there jacking around. So, but yes, I think online testing would be great. Phil, hello from not Australia. Aquaponics, just talked about aquaponics. Nobody's using Citizens Band radio anymore, and the throw on it is just not as good. How much ammo do you recommend? That's a great question. I have a video called How Much Ammo for SHTF, and so I think a great benchmark, especially if you're brand new to firearms, is a great benchmark for ammo is like 500 rounds per pistol, 500 rounds per shotgun, and 1,000 rounds per rifle. Now, if you train regularly, that's nothing. That's nothing. You can burn 500 rounds in a day. So, but if you're brand new, if you're just starting out, 500 rounds per pistol. So if you have two 9mm pistols, that'd be 1,000 rounds. 500 rounds per pistol, and then 500 rounds per shotgun, and then 1,000 rounds per rifle. And by rifle, I mean carbine, you know, your AR platform, your AK platform, your Mini 14, your whatever. And if you're gonna say run a pistol caliber carbine like a Ruger PCC or a Kel-Tec. Now beyond that, I think the next benchmark is 5,000 and 10,000. But 5,000 rounds of shotgun is a lot. I don't have that many rounds of shot. I've probably got a couple thousand rounds of 12 gauge and 1,000-ish of 20 gauge. I don't expect to shoot my shotgun ever that many times. But who knows? Shotgun ammo is also really bulky, but what it is readily available in a lot more places as compared to pistol and rifle ammunition. Now, the only place where you get, where quantities start to get funky, is when you start talking about long guns. Guns that are, you know, purpose built for accuracy at long range. Meaning something like 308, 300 Win Mag, 338 Lapua Magnum, 416, 30-06, even 270 and 243, your quintessential deer gun rounds. 7mm Remington Magnum, which is a phenomenal round, probably my favorite all-around round, 7mm Rem Mag. In that case, 250 rounds of good ammo, knowing that your gun is sighted, unless it's a platform that's in 308. And I think 308 Winchester / 7.62 by 51mm NATO is a preferable long gun caliber, even if it is underpowered compared to 300 Win Mag. And the reason for that is it's more common, more places. It's still a currently issued caliber. You can get military surplus ammunition for it. It will reach out and do the job. It does have enough punch. And your battlefield pickup, if you had to, is going to be much more common than 300 Win Mag, although frankly much less common than 5.56 by 45mm NATO /223. So that's where I go with that. And then the more the merrier. And the other outlier is 22 long rifle. 22 long rifle I do not recommend as a defensive round, and only as a small game hunting round for stories that are outside the scope of this discussion. But I have had experiences with 22 long rifle that have unequivocally made me believe that there is no way I want to bet my life on this thing. And in that case, 22 long rifle is still readily available and relatively cheap. So it's nothing to put up a few thousand rounds of 22 long rifle, and you should, because it's a great way to practice fundamentals. It's a great way to introduce new shooters to the sport, to the right that is firearms, and much more accessible from little kids all the way up to the elderly. So yeah, hey, y'all hang on a minute. I'm gonna go get a light and put a light on so that I can see y'all can see me. I have a hole, 2 holes on the back of my house for lights, but we were in the process of renovating this portion of our house when the Kung flu hit, and there are no exterior lights on this portion of the house. So stand by a hot moment. I'll BRB. Talks quietly amongst yourselves. Battle dog. Down, battle dog. I'm back. There we go. There we go. All right. Show. Live chat. Got it. Online ham testing is coming. Google QRZ now. First online ham exam. Gordon, bless you, brother. Craig Canton, thank you, brother. Thank you. Appreciate that. Bear, this is the first time I've heard this answer from you. You have always said all of it when asked how much ammo to have. Puka, I have a whole video. How much ammo for SHTF? Shut up, Brass Rainbow. Where to holster your pistol while driving? I carry at 3 o'clock outside the waistband. So I leave it right where it is. All the time. Always. And in fact, I've had some turds say, how many, he's always showing his pistol on camera. Yeah, because guess what? I always have it. So, yeah. Yeah, you like them crickets? They're cool. There's some frogs out there as well. So, I'm sure someone has said it, but we just had a 6.5 magnitude earthquake in Idaho. Wow, I did not know. That's interesting. How is the canned ham working out? As good as you thought it was? You know, I've had, we have 3 of them. I've had them all programmed. They all talk to each other and they all talk to our handhelds. And so that's pretty awesome. And the next thing that we're going to do, we're doing it this week. In fact, tomorrow, we are going to be hooking them up to broadcast long range, 100 miles or more. And so as of right now, I've been extremely impressed by the product. I think it's awesome. So great question. Leftover question from the chicken topic. How long to wait to apply chicken poo compost to raised beds? 6 months or so. Here, you know, without getting terribly graphic, chicken poo, when you look at it, is going to be like a gray to white color. And when all of that's gone out of your compost, then it's good to go. When it turns dark brown or black, you're good to go. So, prepper camper, amen. You're welcome, Phelps. Aaron Moore, shalom. Did China create the coronavirus as germ warfare? I don't think so. If they did a pretty damn terrible job of it. And let's just say if they did, what are we going to do about it? What changes? What changes? Nothing. Robert Kelly, bless you. Mr. Breach, shalom. Brian Green, bless you. Will they attack us while we are weak? Define weak. We're not weak. We're not weak at all. China attacking the United States right now would be suicide. No. They might. Luis Martinez, shalom. Seawood. Here's the thing, right? It's entirely possible that something truly catastrophic happens and then China, perhaps Russia, maybe some bad actor like Iran decides, hey, we're going to get in there and we're going to attack them while they're weak. We're not weak. Who do we send intel to? Intel at bearindependent.com. Intel at bearindependent.com. Intel at bearindependent.com. Puzzleman, shalom. Do I think 5G has anything to do with it? I think that it exacerbates it for sure. I think there's something to the oxygen uptake or lack thereof with 5G, but I don't think that it's a contributing factor. It's not the only factor. So What does shalom mean? It's like the Hebrew version of aloha. It means peace. We use that as hello. We use it as goodbye. We use that as what's up. We use it as like good to see ya. Or yeah, shaloha. Shaloha, brother. Um, so, and I'm a Torah observant Christian, follower of Messiah. And so we do things that are more Hebrew-ish than what a lot of people do. And so we use shalom as, it's in part IFF, identification friend or foe. So when somebody says shalom to you, you got a high probability that they have similar thoughts as we do. So, Jesse, sooner than later on travel bans. But I honestly believe, unless something changes based upon everything that I've seen, a month from now, they, meaning the federal government, are going to be clamoring to get people back to work. I don't think the economy can last. And it's too important of an issue for the Trump presidency. It's too impactful to have people out of work that long. And so I really believe a month from now, we'll be clamoring for people to get back to work. If something changes, we'll see. But based upon everything that I know right now, you don't permit something unless you intend to restrict it, but I don't see a reason to restrict currently. So we'll see what happens. So let's see. Somebody said best crops. What crops for raised beds? We've done everything in raised beds. Potatoes work really good in raised beds. Green beans, cucumbers, peppers, tomatoes, okra, salad greens for sure. One of the plus sides of raised beds is that you can leave a little bit open at the bottom for drainage. So root vegetables, carrots, your brassicas like broccoli and broccoli rabe and kohlrabi and all that stuff. I mean, pretty much everything. I've grown corn in raised beds. Yeah, broccoli and spinach for sure. We grow in straw bales. That's cool. We always thought about that. No, we haven't done any vertical gardening. Bear, explain when you'll begin to feel unsafe about helping strangers come along. Well, Joe Blow, we're not currently helping strangers right now. So if there was somebody in need, and we're not currently helping strangers because there's no strangers to help. We kind of live where we live. So here, I'm gonna turn these off for a minute. Helping strangers. There's so much circumstantial here, but I won't help anybody who's a threat to me, known threat to me. I won't help anybody that behaves as a potential threat to me. I won't help anybody that I don't feel right about. And a big part of that is sometimes you just know. Your gut knows. That being said, we're already helping several people, but they're people that we know and people that we have pre-existing relationships with, and they're helping us as well. It's mutual. It's not a handout, it's mutual, which is why I have been harping on community with y'all for so long, to build those meaningful relationships now with people that you love and people you care for, to build that trust now, so that you don't end up in a situation where you don't have anybody that you know you can depend on, where you have to be asking yourself questions like, do I really want to trust this person? So our gate is closed. A stranger inside of my gate is a trespasser, and if they pose a threat, they'll be treated as such. What are you doing, toddler?
I'm looking at Sally.
At Sally's?
Yeah.
The toddler has decided that crane flies, aka mosquito eaters, are all named Sally, and she wants to keep all of them as pets. So, see these lights? These lights attract Sally's, and she's Sally hunting apparently. So, hey, I think Mama just got home. Yep. Go see Mom. Go kill, battle dog. Go kill, battle goat. So that's where I'm at with the whole visitors thing. What visitors? What strangers? Now, all that being said, if the Father puts it on my heart that, hey, these are my people and you are to help them, I will. So, yeah, Andrew, you're correct. So, what else we got? Status and okay. Regional, Oklahoma City and Tulsa area only currently. Lots of counties are issuing guidelines but not enforcing. So, favorite lamb recipes? Oh, Aaron, great question. One of my favorite things to do is to take the hind quarter, and there's 4 muscles there, the quad, to debone it, to lay it flat, to season it with like Mediterranean seasonings and olive oil, to grill it so it's GDB, golden brown and delicious on both sides, and to move it off the heat and to roast it to a nice medium. Kick that goat in its butt. I'm talking to you. Kick that goat. There you go. Thank you. Hold on, I gotta kick this goat. Go in the house. Close the door. The goat likes to be aggressive to things approximately its same size. And I'm about this close to killing it, just so we're all on the same page. So I really like doing that. One of the best things I have ever eaten was last Sukkot. We butchered 2 sheep, 2 males of the first year without blemish, and Oki Storm Chaser, seasoned one with olive oil and rosemary and sea salt. And I think that was it, maybe a handful of other things. And we roasted it over a fire for several hours, and it was to die for good. Just almost gluttonous how delicious it was. And then the other, we parted out, and part of that we ground, I think about 4 or 5 pounds. And we added that to 4 or 5 pounds of ground beef, and then seasoned 10 pounds of breakfast sausage. And it was about 60% beef, 40% lamb, maybe a little bit more lamb. And it was the best breakfast sausage I've ever had. It was gluttonous. Gluttonous is the word. And then obviously the tenderloins are absurdly good. And yeah, it's awesome. I tend to not mess with the shanks. I'm not into cutting the bone. So what I'll do is I'll debone and I'll grind all of that. So basically the lower leg portions, I'll grind all of that and just make ground out of it. And that's really good in soups or in pasta sauce, or to make sausage out of, or to make burger out of. And then I'll cut the quarters, into roasts. And then what's left? You got the belly, grind that. That makes a nice grind because there's a lot of good fat there. The back straps, obviously, those are, cut them into steaks or grill them whole or whatever. And then, any other meat that's just dangling off that sucker, and the fat, because we get good fat on our grain-fed sheep. Grind that all together. It's delicious ground meat. It's absolutely wonderful ground meat. But I like it for roasting, for grilling, and for grinding primarily. I'm sure you can cut some good minute steaks out of the hindquarters for sure. I just haven't done that yet. And if you treat it more like a deer than a steer, you'll be good to go. So, because there's more fat on it than a deer, but not nearly as much as there is on a cow. So, treat it more like a deer and you'll be good to go. Back to live chat. Excusez-moi. Yeah. You covered the ammo question, but how many mags should I have and where can I still get some? Shalom, Texas Strong. I don't know who's still selling mags. I think Palmetto still has a bunch of those D&H aluminum mags, you know, GI style mags, and I have a bunch of those mags and they're good to go. I like a minimum of 7 magazines per platform, but I like a minimum of 7 magazines per platform, but I'd be lying if I didn't tell you that I have 11 minimum magazines per platform. Don Williams, shalom. Matthew, bless you, thank you. And so, yeah. Douglas Hemingway, I don't know where you're at. I mean, I've seen pictures of where you're at. A typical multicam-ish pattern will work. Some OD green and some tan and some brown and Krylon will work just fine. Just throw it all together, man. And coyote with a little bit of green and a little bit of brown. And now, granted, I'm colorblind, but that stuff just disappears from me. Are sheep easier to care for than cattle? That's a great question. I think so because you don't need equipment. The biggest sheep, we have Katahdins, which are the biggest male you'll get will weigh in at about 140 pounds. And so they're small enough that you can handle them 1 or 2 people to butcher, whereas with cattle, you need equipment to move a cow. And they obviously eat far less than cows. Yes, I'm tracking on the 6.5 magnitude at Yellowstone. I've seen the 400 comments that have come in already. So thank you. I'm drinking Scissortail. It's a bourbon out of Moore, Oklahoma. There you go, Scissortail. Bourbon whiskey distilled from grain, bottled by Scissortail Distillery, Moore, Oklahoma. There it is. Good stuff, 90 proof. Not that you can tell, it's smooth as hell. It's really delicious. So yeah, I like 11 mags per weapon, and then as many extra as you can get. So yes, I took the test for color blindness. James, great question. In fact, I had a brother said, "Hey man, you're awesome. I want to buy these for you." And I'm not gonna lie, when he told me that, just the hope, the expectancy, somebody was cutting onions in the room, man. And I took online. Scott, bless you back, man. I took the test online, and it was a hard pass, man. I am incredibly colorblind. I am all the color blindness. So, yeah. Yeah, I tried that, but no go. So it's all good. Do you run a resupply to pack mags in your ruck? So I have 2 additional magazines on my ruck, and then depending on what I'm doing, I may throw a few more in there. But I typically like to have 10 plus 1. So 1 in the gun and 10 more. Right, hold on a minute. Regularly. So, why are we outside?
She wants to outside.
Okay.
Get away from us. Yeah. Yeah, I'm over here.
So, yeah, I carry typically 10 plus 1 mags. At a minimum, I'll carry 6 plus 1. Hey, Ed. Scott, bless you. Crypt Keeper, thank you. So, Yeah.
Dad, Daddy. Oh.
Texas Crusade, that's what we were just talking about. I've tried them. They will not work for me. So,
Pop. Oh yeah.
Smokey Blazer, hey. Bless you, Ed Hunt.
Hubby. Oh yeah, I saw a big Sally on that wall. So now where's Sally?
Yeah, Falcon Res, cool. Yep. I actually see tremendously well at night. And I think it is a function of how poorly I see color. I've been told by certain docs that I see. Get out of here, goat. Kick that goat in the face. There you go. There you go. Don't even let that goat near your sister. Copy? Okay. You're gonna have to die, Coco. So, I've been told by doctors who were guesstimating that I can see apparently up to 3 times as well in the dark as the average mere mortal. So, yeah. But yeah, I see a little bit better in the dark than the average person, but I don't see colors well at all. So, Scott, bless you. What are your thoughts on prepping and tactical ops if one, whatever, SHTF? My wife may have Parkinson's and is currently unable to walk much without help. Well then, Jake, what I would tell you is you need to be someplace where tactical ops are like a damn near impossibility. And bless you and bless her. But the less mobile one is, the more you need to be in a situation where you don't need to be mobile. And so it's not SHTF actual yet. Move. Move. Or if you're already in a good place, reinforce that good place. So, Diesel Adventures, shalom, brother. So, do you think that sheds would be good for Mag and their family for home base? Absolutely, Nicole. I've actually been looking at myself. Sean, bless you. Thank you. Yeah, Robert, you're right. Except for some reason she likes this one. Yeah, Wyoming homesteader, you're right. If plan A is to bug out, you live in the wrong place, especially if mobility is an issue. And so I would just simply say you need to get to the point where you don't have to worry about leaving at the drop of a hat because of chaos. So, how many acres of land to feed a family of 5 3 males a day all year? Gobra 2. That's a really good question. I've talked about this on camera several times, a few times on YouTube and repeatedly on Patreon. Here's the deal. We have 1 acre in pasture right now with 19 sheep on it. We're going to put in at least an acre of feed corn next door. So now we're at 2 acres. We will end up easily with an acre of garden between 3 different properties, ourselves and 1 on either side of us. So now we're at 3 acres. We'll say a 4th acre just for haying, and then a 5th acre for foraging. 5 acres, man. We use 3 acres regularly every day. We use 3 acres of our land regularly every day. The rest of it, we see some of the time, we use some of the time, and then the majority of it, yeah, 1 acre per mouth. But here's the thing, that depends on the acre because all acres are not created equal. You're looking at a function of sunlight and rainfall and soil conditions to come up with that 1 acre per. And then you have to apply stewardship to the land. Ace, we feed them grain and bring hay in, but yes, that's enough room for sheep. If you're going to put them on pasture where all they eat is pasture, then you want 2/10 of an acre per head. Where they just eat grass, 2/10 of an acre per head. So, and when I say 19 sheep, 7 of them are littles. They're baby sheep, so it's really more like 12 sheep. And several of them have a date with destiny in the near future. So an acre is an acre is an acre is an acre is a fallacy. Again, it's a function of sunlight and rainfall and soil conditions and stewardship. You can have the perfect acres, but if you don't do anything with them, it don't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter. So yeah, just like Oki said. Um,
I'm trying to get with the bird is best.
Good thoughts. 1 acre is cool, Roger. Sheep for the win. I'm learning how to make my own medicine. Awesome. My Jeff Enerol carry, General carry is 357. Good plate and carrier. Oh man, so good plate and carrier. Again, it all depends. What does it depend on? Is Bear married with kids? Yep. Yotes. Y'all hear the yotes? They're over there and over there.
And over there.
Can y'all hear the coyotes? Yep. Me too. Battle goats turn into battle snacks when the coyotes are around. So my mom, Jerry, is now a huge fan. She is behind this donation. Thank you, Chris. Thank you for the wealth of infomercial you and your wife provide. Bless you, Chris Scully, and thank you, Jerry. You made a good one. Good job. So, plates and plate carriers, man. It's all personal preference. I like level 4 plates. My basic thinking on this is if I'm going to wear armor, it better stop rifle rounds. Because if it can't stop this, why am I wearing it? Now, soft armor is much more comfortable to wear than hard armor. But that comfortability could, in theory, cost you your life if you're in a situation where you have to wear armor. And so if I'm going to wear armor, I have the ability to stop rifle rounds. I have some level 3 plus stuff, which is rated to stop 5.56, 7.62, and 308 AP. And then I have some level 4 stuff, which is rated to stop, 308 armor piercing, 300 Win Mag armor piercing, so forth, so on. So, and as far as the carrier, that depends because you're either a big guy or you're not. If you're a big guy, then the Condor Mop C, Modular Operator's Plate Carrier, which I have a review on, is a really good kit. Hey, Aspen, stop, baby. You're going to knock that over. It's a good kit. But it's not going to fit you if you're a skinny mini. No, James, you can't. If you want to buy armor, I'll tell you what. Go to adventurefrontier.com. He's got Spartan armor, and I have Spartan plates. They're good plates. So adventurefrontier.com. He's a friend of mine. He's a good dude. That's the NWA prepper, and I've bought a considerable amount of armor for myself and for clients from him, and it's all Spartan armor, and it's good stuff. So, but carrier is all personal preference. I have an HRT carrier that I'm waiting to review because I have some of the stuff that they're supposed to send me, but not all the stuff because of DeBizzle. But it's a very well-made carrier. But I'll tell you, it's much more applicable to y'all skinny folks than it is to bear-sized men. So, I mean, if you got a 56-inch chest, this is not the plate carrier for you. Badger, yeah, that HRT is good. And then I'll tell you lastly, if you really want to be one and done, go to sojourngear.com. James, shalom. SEWJOURN gear. Sojourn gear. SEWJOURN gear.com. Go see Brother Cody and just one and done. His stuff, exactly, go brah. Sojourn gear. His stuff is phenomenal. Handmade, made in America, guaranteed forever. It's going to be a comparable cost to buying something like a tactical tailor, but you're supporting a small business made by hand, made in America, and guaranteed forever. And it'll be exactly what you want. What?
I saw a big one this time.
You did?
Yes.
How big was it?
It was like this big.
How big?
This big and flew down there.
It was how big?
This big.
Oh my gosh.
And it flew down. Whoa, there it is.
And it flew down there? Oh my, wow. Does Bear have kids? Yes, Bear has kids.
There it is.
Bob, are you cold?
A little.
A little. So, shalom, Matthew Brady. So yeah, go see Cody at Sojourn Gear. I mean, he makes all of our pouches for a reason. So, hi, Kathy D. Ah, that's a moth baby. She makes you young again. She makes me gray, bro. Hey,
Don't
stop.
get close.
So deep.
It went away.
Wait a minute. I think I can go down there and catch.
Scissor tail bourbon is in the cup. You can't jump off the porch to catch that, okay?
Yeah.
I know.
You know?
I can use the stick, but Coco's on that one. No one's on that one.
That's right. Coco is on those
There's
stairs.
no light over there,
So,
so you might fall.
No, but I would.
what advice can you give me if we want to learn how to butcher our own animals for meat? Tom, that's a great question. Let me talk to you about butchering for a hot minute.
Can't jump off of that.
We butcher our own animals. I was raised butchering our own animals. And I can tell you nowadays, with the miracle of the internet, what I would recommend to you is you get a smartphone or a tablet and pull up a video like how to butcher sheep, okay? And then pick out your sheep. Take a 22 rifle, 36 grain or 40 grain hollow point. Make sure it's zeroed. And at about 25 meters, shoot that sucker in the back of the head. And he's going to drop like a bad habit. Then you pick him up, you hang him up, and you slit his throat, and all the blood will run out. But it's over like that. And while he's hanging, you get your knives, sharp knives. We have several butchering knives. Most of the butchering that we do is done with a Mora companion, and then with a couple of knives that were sent to us by Mark Chase. They're Victorinox, almost like paring knives. And they're incredibly sharp. They take an edge well, and we keep our knives sharp. A sharp knife is useless. So while he's bleeding out, get your knives, make sure they're sharp, and then press play on the video and just work along. This time of year, recommended you do it the crack of dawn because bugs, at least where I am at, will get horrendous. The warmer the day gets, the more bugs you'll get, and you don't want bugs on your meat for all the reasons. It gets obnoxious. I like to put a wheelbarrow below where I'm working, so all the blood and the guts and the hide, you can keep the hide if you want, but the blood and the guts and everything else goes into the wheelbarrow, and then I just wheel that right over to my compost pile, dig a hole in the side of the compost pile, dump it in, cover it back up, rinse the wheelbarrow out, and I'm done. So we hang our animals in our barn. And I've got videos on sheep butchering on Patreon, and I may even have one on YouTube. I don't remember, but we butchered several sheep here. And then I keep a bucket, 5-gallon bucket filled with clean water for rinsing my knife and my hands while I'm working. And then I keep an unscented trash bag next to me while I'm working, and as I'm taking the cuts off the animal, the primal cuts. What, baby?
Look, a star.
That is a star. You're right. Do you see Mooney?
Yeah. He's
Yeah.
right there.
You're right. He is right there. And so I'll take the primal cuts, the front leg, the back legs, the fifth quarter, meaning from between the neck and the tailbone. Take that inside onto a large commercial grade cutting board, and then I'll break those down further in the house, and then we'll vacuum seal it or zip lock it or whatever from there. But the best way you can learn how to do that if you don't have an experienced butcher to stand next to and learn, which is how I learned as a kid, but I've probably forgotten more than I know about butchering at this point.
A moth.
Yes, that is a moth, you're right.
I can get it.
You should get it, but don't eat it. Okay.
We have to be really quiet.
We have to be really quiet?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not to stay
If I talk like this, is it okay? Okay. So, the best way, if you can't stand next to somebody who knows how to butcher, is to just go do it yourself and take the time to learn how to do it. Keep your knives sharp. Make sure the animal is killed cleanly, and you know, the faster you process it, the better it's gonna taste. But really, if you take an extra hour to butcher it, to cut it all up, it's gonna be just fine. Some people will let their animals hang overnight. We don't, as you just heard from our coyotes. There's good reasons why we don't. And especially this time of year, it's not necessarily cool enough that I want meat hanging up all night. You know, fly larvae, and it's just not good, not yummy. So that's what I would do. And we do the same things with turkeys, same things with chickens. You know, doing a turkey is just like doing a big chicken. And goats and sheep are a lot like doing deer. And cows are like doing a big deer. So, yeah, and we don't eat pork. So, yeah.
I know. Dad,
Yes,
it's almost dark. Look.
it is almost dark. That's why we have lights, baby.
Another star.
How big is the moon?
I don't know. It's like
Smokey, it's not that I don't like it.
Why?
It's just we keep a Leviticus 11 diet. And so our conviction is that we don't eat swine.
Daddy,
So we don't eat pork. But we have discovered beef bacon, and it's tremendous. Yes? What? What is it?
the
What?
moon is half.
Yes, the moon is half. You're right. It is half.
It's like a moony, like a sun.
Yeah? Okay, good talk. So,
What a star is?
yeah. The Sabbath, when do you observe it? Sundown Friday through sundown Saturday. So, Tom, you're welcome. We get our beef bacon from the local butcher. Yeah, and brisket is a sub for beef bacon. In fact, I found an article online, and I'll be trying this in the near future, of how to take the flat of the brisket and cure it and then cut it like bacon. So, and the chain meat or the belly is adjacent to the brisket on the steer, and that chain meat is what becomes the bacon anyway. It's the same as it would on a hog. And so the brisket is a good facsimile for bacon off of a cow if you can't find beef bacon. So, roger that, James. Hey, Mama. Oh my goodness. Industrial green beanage.
So yeah, when you're
Dad, look, Sally.
doing grocery pickup,
Hold on, Weez.
you
It got-
need to
Hold on. Say hi to the people.
hi people,
Hello.
and
Not you, Weez, Mama.
when you're doing grocery pickup, make sure to pay attention to the ounces, because this is the can of green beans. Actually, I got 2 of these.
So we're having green beans tomorrow?
Yeah, I was like, green bean casserole for a year.
The whole neighborhood is
Yeah.
having green beans tomorrow?
So,
Hey, Niner, can you put some more
Fun,
ice
fun.
cubes in here for me?
yes. Yes.
Actually, bring me 3 ice cubes, please.
More liquid?
Bring me 3 ice cubes, please.
You gonna wipe with
Yeah.
hand sanitizer when I give them to you?
All the
No.
green beans.
Yeah, number 10 cans.
You can go back to you-ish.
Me-ish?
Yeah,
You don't want
I
to touch
mean,
the people?
well,
They've been
yeah, I'll
asking
talk-
for you all night, man.
Oh, sorry, y'all.
Yeah.
I had to pick up groceries.
Smokey, we are happy.
Find Sally.
Stay survived. She had water croutons. Yeah, ice cubes. She had an 8 o'clock pickup at Walmart for curbside pickup. So we are in basically soft lockdown. We're not going into anywhere and nobody's coming here. But curbside pickup at Walmart is, you know, still kind of a go.
Yeah.
So thanks, Ace.
And it was pretty easy. But yeah, like, I had 2 lunch meats, like deli lunch meats on my list, and they had
Thank
the
you.
turkey, but they didn't have the roast beef. They ended up
Right here, Weez.
canceling that.
Right here, Weez.
And
That's for the bugs.
It's not for the bugs,
fresh
it's for
stuff
me.
was no problem. Like, plenty of fresh stuff. Bread and canned goods had a limit of 2. Frozen stuff had a limit of 2.
So holy cow.
I didn't realize, because, you know, we have all the green beans anyways.
Matthew Gentry. Bless you, Matthew. Thank you. That's awesome.
We
Thank
love
you very
talking
much.
to you guys.
I love Tactical
like-
Tuesday. I feel
I
like
don't have a lot of friends.
I'm your
so
friend.
You are my friend.
I'm your
but,
friend.
Like, I don't have people that I talk to on a regular basis.
For
so
me? Thank
for
you.
me, like, because I'm an introvert. So for me, like,
Me too. I'm super introverted.
yeah.
Says the guy with 1,500 YouTube videos.
So Tony John, yes, they had a limit of on milk, 2, but like I got 2 gallons for us, and then I got 2 half gallons for my grandma. So
Battle dog.
so it's like they limit it, but they don't
Bye.
super. Hey, you gotta stay where I can see you. But they don't super limit it. It's like,
Chill,
yeah,
Sam.
per brand, per size. So you could even get like a different brand milk and get 2 of those, and it would probably
Sam.
be okay.
Put Coco to bed. Put Coco to bed.
Do Battle Dog Wednesday.
No, we're already doing. We did 9 live streams in 5 days last week.
Hey, Aspen, no.
We
Go
did
inside with Bubba then.
we did
being too
9
loud.
live streams last week. Hold on. Let me kick this goat in the face.
Hey, go inside. I don't want Coco getting you.
Here you go, Weez.
Ooh.
Good job. So, I didn't know Tony John was with us.
Yeah.
Shalom, Tony John.
Yes.
So last week we did Daily Brief Monday, then Men's Group Monday, then Daily Brief Tuesday, then Tactical Tuesday, and then Daily Brief Wednesday, and then We the People Wednesday with Rod at Yankee Survival, and then Daily Brief Thursday, and then Patreon live stream, exclusive live stream on Thursday, and then Daily Brief Friday. So we did 9 live streams last week, in addition to videos every day on YouTube
No, you can't have my margarita.
and Patreon. So yeah, that was a little, yeah, good times.
Sam.
What's he doing? Trying to eat?
Nibbling her leg.
He should. She's ornery. How's he doing with the tree semen? Not so good, I guess. He's back at Ram Clan right now.
Yeah.
So choice of tequila, but he'll be back at Bear Clan in the near future. So he tried to leave. You can't leave Bear Clan. Nobody leaves Bear Clan. You're just temporarily assigned to a
Right, we
different
just
clan.
suck you in. Yes, that's Sam. Or I guess you're talking about my dog Sam.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's him.
yeah.
He's pretty much like I'd say he's like 90%. Like if he gets caught on like a slippery floor, he might have a problem, but he's running. Like we played fetch today and he's doing good. So just trying to keep him from doing too much too soon. Because you know.
That's right, Ginger Beast.
He did get hit by a truck. So
Yeah. Like,
like 6
truck
days ago.
ran over him. Yeah. Still haven't found that guy, but we will. Man.
Yeah. It's chilly.
I know,
I
it
love this
did
weather.
get chilly. Hey, I appreciate y'all back. Just don't what Badger Clan? Don't dend up Badger Clan corn. It's all good, bro. I like this. You know, we got a Fox Clan, Bear Clan, Ram Clan. I was on the phone with a guy named Gator the other day. We got a Badger. I was talking with Renee about this. I was like, everybody has the best code names. Final bourbon to drink if it's time to go. Patrick, Blanton's. I'll be drinking my Blanton's. If this is the one, when you see me with a shaved face and a gas mask on holding a glass of Blanton's, you know the world has actually ended, okay? So until that happens, everything's fine. So, Mogwai Clan. I'll let you read the questions. You got another good question?
I don't know.
I don't know. It got chilly.
Yeah, I think this is Jose. Is this Jose?
It's Cuervo.
Oh, Cuervo. Yeah.
Which is Jose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I named our sheep, our male sheep after.
A ram.
Our ram. Yeah, his name's Jose.
You know,
Because I like the tequila.
they have so many different tequilas now. Like,
Yeah.
I just got you Cuervo because I didn't know what
Just,
to.
yeah, give me the brown stuff. The brown stuff. And, y'all, this is another use for oils. When you don't have lime sitting around, you can get your lime oil and do it on the rim to salt with.
Oh.
And then you have a very potent lime to go with your tequila.
It got freaking chilly when that sun went down.
And it helps boost your immune system.
I tell you what, my Urs is cold. Can we please murder that goat?
No.
Please?
Exactly, y'all.
What?
They like my lime with my oily tip. Goat or guineas? Goat. Well, I mean, like to take out? Yeah, I'd rather take out the guinea than the goat. She's my porch goat. Like, we hang out. She comes up and sits with me on the porch and nudges me with her little horns and
assaults the children
Yeah.
and sleeps in the asparagus bed. Yeah. Yep. See, I don't do gray area. I'm like 100% compliance to Bear's Way or nothing.
yeah.
And the goat's like, F you, Bear's Way. This is Goat Clan. And I'm like, it's not Goat Clan. You're not the leader of this clan. And she's like, watch me, bro.
So somebody asked what we already have planted and if our last frost has happened. So typically around the Passover, Easter time, it's usually another little cold snap. So I haven't really gotten, I think we did onions and potatoes, and then I have all my greens, and then I have garlic,
Horseradish.
and horseradish from last year that's outside, and then our grapes from last year, and our blueberry from last year. So those are all starting to bud out and do good. And then inside, I have under grow lights, I've got cucumbers, tomatoes, and peppers, and kind of waiting until after Easter to get those in the ground. If they'll wait that long, I may end up going ahead and doing the cucumbers just because they're big. And then I've got beans and corn. and a couple of other little things that will get started.
We got asparagus going in the front yard.
Yeah, and asparagus in the front yard when my goat doesn't eat it.
And we got our starts from PJD. Bless you,
Yes.
Paula Joe.
Yes,
Thank you.
got those. And then I got some tree, like some like little bare root tree saplings. They're like this big that I've got to figure out where to put.
Those are red buds and crepe myrtles.
They're flowering trees.
Yeah.
And crab apple, which I like crab apples. Most people are like, I can't eat it, but I like the like super tartness.
That's weird.
I think they're good. It's like a Bradford pear, kind of.
Gross. We have some Cherokee pumpkins that somebody sent us last year.
Mm-hmm.
We have a bunch of seeds from the Burning Hearth Homestead.
Yep.
We have a bunch of seeds from Baker Seeds. And we have a bunch of seeds from Buzzard Roost, which honestly, if you want a channel about like seed saving and gardening and planting, Buzzard Roost is a great channel, and he's a great guy. Like, he's just an awesome, awesome guy. He's a great brother, and you should go check him out for real, because he emailed me maybe 13 months ago. It was before last year's planting season. And said, hey, can I send you a little bit of seed? And I said, sure, you can send me a little bit of seed. He sent a 5-gallon bucket full of seeds.
Mm-hmm.
And, man, we're still working off of that. In fact, we're planting gardens in this neighborhood off of that bucket. He's an awesome guy. And so Buzzard Roost, really good channel. You should go check him out and tell him Bear sent you, because he knows what he's talking about. He probably, there's no probably, he knows far more about gardening than I do.
Yeah.
And seed saving for sure. So.
Yep. And then we have a bunch of tactical potatoes that are popping up.
That we learned about from Adam at the APN, Arkansas Preparedness
that are
Network.
mixed in with my salad greens, because I was making the rows for my salad greens. And we had potatoes there the year before, and they did horribly. Like,
grubs.
Pathetic potato harvest. But I'm digging the rows to put in my greens, and I get caught on something, and I yank and I yank and I pull, and up pops this potato like this big. So now I'm starting to see a bunch of I don't know, potato shoots, greens, growth.
The tops.
Yeah, the tops pop up in my salad greens. So
our garden soil is far better this year than it was last year.
yeah, most of that mulch is like
It has turned to
broken down.
turned to soil. And so
Yeah.
for those that don't know, last spring we had a tribal work day. Everybody from our greater faith community came from up to several hours away, came, and we rented a wood chipper. And you can't see it right now, but we are surrounded by mature trees. And so we had 30-some people. I think at one point we had 5 chainsaws running of trimming trees and dragging brush to the chipper, which we just parked the chipper outside of the garden, and we just sprayed wood chips all day into the garden. And then we put on top of that, we put cardboard and then hay and then compost and sawdust and yada, yada, yada. Matthew Gentry, bless you. Paying it forward. I know you do this all the time, but I think a lot of people could really gain a lot that actually had this mentality. Bless you, Matthew. Thank you.
And amen. Like,
well, a big part of that is what we like to think about as positions of strength here.
mm-hmm.
I want to be so fiercely squared away that when this happens, we're good. And because we're good, our neighbors are good. Because our neighbors are good, our community is good. Because our community is good, our town is good. And so we call it positions of strength. You can call it paying it forward, but you should give credit where credit is due. You should do the hard things because it's the right thing to do.
Close the door.
The easy way is oftentimes the wrong way or the less right way. And we just want, I don't want sycophants. I don't want followers. I talked with a brother about this recently. He said, you know, I don't want manservants. I want brothers. And I'm the same way. And I want that for y'all as well. I don't want to be up here and have y'all down here. I want us all on the same level. Everybody firing on all cylinders. Everybody squared away. Everybody's strong and capable. Because
Aspen.
when this thing really does go bad, the world's going to need strong, capable men and women. And
Who was that?
Come here.
to the extent that I can help
Here,
contribute to that,
This one is yours.
awesome.
Thank you.
Here, Dad. This one is yours.
Thank you, baby. You did
Okay.
such a good job. Hey, go inside. It's cold, okay?
I don't want Coco get ya.
I'll see you in a little bit.
Toddler art,
The best.
the best. So somebody asked me a question.
Did they?
Yeah. How has my role changed as homemaker since quarantine?
Great question.
That is a good
That's a
question.
really good question.
That's why I remembered it, and I'm gonna answer it.
That's a really good question.
So it hasn't changed too terribly much. Everything's kind of slowed down, but sped up in the same, like, different things are going quicker and other things are like slowing down. So, we've been doing like homeschooling with the kids where they do an hour in the morning and an hour in the afternoon. And then our oldest has been helping with the toddler, Aspen, in doing some light, like preschoolish kind of things, you know, learning numbers, like actual physical, what the numbers are, and because she can count, and ABCs and things like that, and like very basic arithmetic. And so I've been helping with that. Really, since quarantine started, like, I have been in the store nonstop shipping orders because bless y'all.
Bless y'all. And thank you. Because the point gets lost that, yes, there are 9 households eating off of Bear Independent right now, in part or in whole. And so thank y'all for supporting us in what we do, because it's not just us, and it's not some nameless, faceless corporation, you know, some LLC somewhere that's churning out BS content. Like, there are 9 families that are eating off of this. And believe me, do I feel the weight of that. And I'm honored that the Father thinks enough of me to put me in that position. And I'm humbled that y'all enable us in this. So thank you very much.
But yeah, like, that's been kind of like my 9 to 3-ish job. And so I've been doing that a lot because we've had this raffle, and just with kind of the chaos, like, we've been selling Bearfax like crazy. So I've had to do a lot of orders to replenish inventory. And so I've been doing that a lot, as well as getting, you know, garden things planted, seed starts done, general house cleaning, which I did anyways. So it's kind of changed, but it's more the pace than the actual things that I'm doing. Like, I haven't had a mommy day in a couple of weeks because I was sick before that, and the last one that we said I was gonna have,
You ended up doing
but I ended up
office
doing
stuff
store
all day.
stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, so
but
that's
I mean,
probably, like,
it's not much of a reprieve, but at least that's like all you had to do,
right.
you know.
But like I was telling Shine earlier, like, I haven't really seen my grandmother in like a month. Like, we email back and forth. I bring her things that she needs, but like I'm doing my damnedest to keep this away from her. She's 82. She's in good health,
Oh,
but
she's strong.
I'm
She'd
like,
put
I don't
most of
want
us
this
to
to come
shame.
anywhere near her. And so that's kind of been disheartening, not being able to
See grandma as
go
much.
hang out with her and go do
Yeah.
our shopping, stuff like that.
Yeah. You know, the other morning, me and Yankee went rocking, and we were just wrecked. I mean, we had a good rock, and we get done, and we're dragging ass, frankly. And we go back up to Grandma's house, and Grandma's up there with her tiller, tilling her garden. And Yankee looks at me, he's like, "Yeah, getting shamed by Grandma. Roger that. Okay. Yep, I'm alive again." And I'm like, "Yeah, there's an 82-year-old woman out in her garden, tilling her garden by her lonesome." And
Oh, cancel.
so yeah, Grandma's awesome, but we still don't want her to become
No.
unnecessarily exposed to anything, which is a big part of why we're behaving the way that we are behaving, balanced by the fact that we still have a deep need for commerce, and we have businesses to operate, and so we're just limiting exposure as much as possible. So yeah, that was a really good question. I think part of the pace is that it's spring, so spring on the
Yeah, it's
homestead
just
is crazy busy anyway, and
Yeah.
then coupled with the world trying to end, the pace has been absurd. And so we instituted a policy of sustain, improve. Typically, sustain, improve would be something you'd do in an after action report of things that we did well, things we didn't do well, what are we going to sustain, what are we going to keep the same, and what are we going to improve, what do we need action on. Well, what we are doing is we're going to maintain or sustain everything that we have, because we have a lot. We have meat birds, we have this stupid goat, we got this dog that got run over by a truck, we got 19 sheep on property, we've got laying hens, we've got gardens, we're fixing to have row crops. We've got a lot going on a homestead aspect. So we're going to maintain that or sustain that. And we're going to pick one thing, just one thing each day. And if we make progress on that one thing, we're doing great. Who was that? Matthew Johnson, bless you. Thank you. And part of that was because we realized pretty quickly that we were going so quickly, our pace was so fast that it was unsustainable, and we were going to get burnt out. And if you burn out, now you're useless. And I don't think this is SHTF actual, but if it was, useless is not the thing I want to be. So to say nothing of the fact that we have everyday things that got to happen regardless, right?
Yeah.
Jesus saves. Shalom. Shalom, shalom, shalom. Oh, that's a great question. Has this event shown you holes in any aspects of your plan? Great question. Yes. We almost immediately started implementing plans to get our well up here on solar so that we have water no matter what. Now, we are blessed that we have 10, legitimately 10 water sources on property, but the most convenient of which is this well house right over here that's plumbed directly into my house. And so we've started progress on that, or we've at least started quantifying what progress looks like on that. We need a damn dairy cow. We get plenty of eggs, but I like butter, and my kids like milk, and we all like cheese. We need a damn dairy cow, but once you bring in dairy cows, I mean, I just got done explaining how busy we were, and that's one more thing. So, do we need a dairy cow, or do we need to learn to suck it up? I don't know, but I'll tell you, a dairy cow would not come amiss, but just between the handful of families in our immediate area, we would use whatever milk and milk products, dairy products came out of that cow for sure. Other things that have become obvious is my ham capability is regional, and that's good, but it's not, it has the capability to be more robust than it is, and all it takes is actually doing the things to implement that, and that's not been done yet, so that has to be done. But commo is vital. I mean, this is an element of commo right now. We're exchanging information right now. Imagine if we were doing this all in the dark. People would be losing their ever-loving minds. Manpower is something that I have harped on. I have talked to you guys over and over again for 2 years now about you got to have people. And it's been a blessing to have Yankee here. It's been a blessing to have our neighbors on either side of us here, that when something needs to get done, we can throw a dozen bodies without trying at it to get it done. And so, but what has been a challenge is that there are other good people. I mean, just good salt of the earth believers, like-minded people who want to live here, and there's no property for them to live here. And so we've had a lot of people who have been actively trying to move here in the last couple of years, but in the last couple of weeks for sure, there's no place to send them. And that kind of breaks my heart. I wish that it wasn't that way, and it's something that I've been praying over, but I wish, and of course you can wish in one hand and crap in the other and see which one gets filled up first, but I wish we had cabins here right now. We don't, but I wish that we did, that if somebody or a family of somebody's needed a place to come and stay for a while, they could. We're just simply not there yet, but I would like to have that. And I guess lastly, we had ambitions to build an outhouse before Sukkot 2020 anyway, and that's on an accelerated timeline now. During Sukkot, this past Sukkot, we had upwards of 52 people here on property, and it was a blessing. It was awesome. I love it. Oh, it's a party. I love it.
And we have two bathrooms, but like first thing in the morning,
yeah,
when everybody wakes up and we all gotta go potty or
take a shower or brush your teeth or
number two that takes
wash
a
your
little bit
face
longer.
or whatever. It's like
yeah,
there was a lot of demand on our home septic
two bathrooms
system.
wasn't enough.
So we're spinning up the outhouse, and that'll be a humanure system, which will play into our permaculture systems anyway. And so we're going to start that in earnest in the coming days. So those are the most considerable holes that I've seen.
It's so bored in my house. That's why I can't go in.
It's so bored in there. Sam.
Not
Hey.
yours.
Not yours.
I got Cheetos.
You got Cheetos? Hey, it's really cold out here. You're going to turn into an icicle. Why don't you go see how high you can jump on Bub's bed?
Yeah, no.
But not while eating Cheetos. So, it's nice to know that basically all other systems are a go. Our food is deep and wide, and I'm very happy about that. Like I said, other than a dairy cow, we're doing fine. Security, non-issue. Agriculture has actually been getting considerably stronger in the last few days. I think community, one of the things that I don't like about this is that we are very intentional people. And there are people that we adore fellowshipping with. There are people that we love and that we go out of our way to spend time with that we really can't right now. And I miss my brothers. I miss my friends. I miss my pastor. I miss my pastor's wife. I miss going to church. I miss fellowshipping with people that we love and worshiping our Creator together. I miss that, and I hate that we're not doing it right now. And I totally understand why we're not doing it, but I miss it.
Yeah.
It's funny how much you take that for granted when it's available to you to engage in or to say no to on a whim. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I, you know, we treat it with such frivolity, and then it's gone, and it's like, damn, I miss those people. I want to just be able to shake their hand and look them in the eye and say, hey, how are you? You know, I miss that. Like, those are my people, and I'm a people person. I'm a the right people person. I'm not an everybody person. I'm a punch most people in the throat person. But if you're not in the get punched in the throat column, if you're in the other column, you're good to go. And so I miss the assembling of Yah's people quite a bit. And I didn't realize it was going to be that impactful on me, but it has been. So, yeah. What's going on over there?
Somebody asked if it was okay to buy lamb from the store for Passover.
Abso-freaking-lutely. Absolutely. So here's the deal with Passover, okay? Yeshua, Jesus the Christ, has become our Passover offering. His blood is the blood of the renewed covenant. Now, if you go read Leviticus 11, if you go read Exodus 12, you read Deuteronomy, this ceremony will be done in remembrance, a law forever throughout your generations, so that all the people will know that I am the Lord Yahweh, your Elohim, who brought you out of the land of Mitzrayim by a strong hand, so that you will remember
Mommy,
who the Lord your God is.
where's my key?
But the actual act of the sacrifice is already handled by Yeshua, already handled by Jesus. And so the obedience is to the ceremony, because your sins have already been atoned for. And the ceremony, the remembrance of, what am I trying to say here? If you're doing the best that you can given the situation, that's what matters. The legalism comes into, well, it says a male of the sheep or goats of the first year without blemish. That's what it says. If you can't secure a lamb or a goat of the first year, a male without blemish for your Passover, the intent of your heart, I believe, is what matters more than the legalistic aspect of whether or not you secured that lamb or that goat. In fact, Yeshua, Jesus, when he comes and he teaches Torah, if you look at Matthew 5, Matthew 6, Matthew 7, Sermon on the Mount, Sermon on the Plains, what he does is he takes the Torah, for example, the outward Torah, the Torah that was taught by Moshe, taught by Moses, where he says, yo, you shouldn't commit adultery. Yeah, roger that. We all know that. But Yeshua says, not only should you not commit adultery, you shouldn't look at that woman with lust in your eyes. Because if you do, you've now committed adultery. You've sinned against her. And so that takes it from out here and moves it in here to intent of the heart. He says the same thing with murder. It's not enough that we shouldn't murder each other, but if you call your brother an idiot, you've now murdered Rakah, idiot. You're an idiot. You've now murdered him with your mouth. The intent of your heart is murder. And so the clarification and instruction that we receive from Messiah, who is our atoning sacrifice, whose blood we are covered by under the renewed covenant, is the intent of the heart. Where is your heart at? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to accomplish? And if the depth of your ability to be obedient is to acquire a lamb at this store, absolutely, amen, go for it, because you're doing the best you can with what you got where you're at. That's all we can ever ask for. I mean, it's that effort, it's that intent of the heart, and it's If you look in Hebrews 8 under the renewed covenant, Hebrews 8:6 through 8:12, the crux of the issue in Hebrews 8:7 and then in 8:8 is that the Father disregarded Israel because they disregarded him. They quit caring. And so he was like, I'm done. You obviously care. And if you care enough to even ask the question, awesome. Walk in obedience to the best of your ability, knowing above all things that this Passover, this ritual, this rite that we perform as a remembrance commanded throughout our generations forever is nothing more than a reminder of Yeshua and his atoning sacrifice. That's what it is. This sheep that we kill and eat on Passover will be nothing compared to the sacrifice of Messiah. Nothing. But it'll be a reminder of how important, how life-changing his sacrifice was. And so if that piece of lamb you get from the store is that for you, boom, you win. So, yeah, that's my take on it. Other people might think differently, but the teachings of Messiah all come back to intent of the heart. And if you're doing the best you can with the circumstances that you find yourself in, and your heart is clean, more power to you. It's cold out here.
Hi, Coco.
I'm getting shivery, man.
I know. You can't jump up here.
Overall living. Shalom, brother.
You can't get into that.
We're going to make matzah. It's one of my favorite things to do. Carry on. Shalom. So bread and wine, we got that covered. Unleavened bread. We're going to make matzah. Overall living. Love you, bro. You're freaking awesome, man. Another great channel. You guys should just like all go to Overall Living right now. Sub to them.
Watch your horns, Battle Bill.
Leslie Lively. So, anyway, it's chilly out here. I'd be cold, yo. Can you
I know,
read that?
I'm in shorts.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, I can. That's why I'm sitting all up close like this.
Should we bring it this way a little
so
bit?
I can read.
Does that help?
Because I ain't got my glasses.
I don't have glasses. I probably need them.
You need them.
Thank you. It's really nice.
More
It's really nice.
videos of battle goats, please.
Eh.
I might show you my porch goat.
Eh. That goat is just, like, I totally understand in the book of Matthew why Messiah says, I'm separating my sheep from my goats. It's because, like, sheep are kind of annoying, but they at least listen to you. Like, they'll follow you. They're like, oh, hey, my master's here. I'm going to walk over to him, see what's up.
She follows you everywhere you go.
No, she does not. She does not follow everywhere you go. She does whatever the hell she wants to do. And that's the whole thing. And that's the whole teaching in that there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth at the end of an age, because there will be people who think, oh, my shepherd is coming. And it's like, well, you were a goat this whole time. You did whatever the hell you wanted to do. You thought you were good, but actually he's going to be like, woof, separating the flocks, bro. Sheep this way, goats this way. And in fact, in occultism, the goat is revered for its free will. And that's where you get the concept of sheeple, those that blindly follow. But sheep don't blindly follow, believe me. You ever try and chase a sheep down? I have.
Yeah, especially while she's trying to give birth.
Mm-hmm. Or your brother can't count and puts 10 in your pen instead of 8. Love you, bro. Sheep aren't necessarily, sheep either, but
Right.
they're much better. They're much better behaved than goats are. I get the analogy, and there's a big point in that. The Father's people are called to be agricultural.
Yeah.
And a lot of the,
Chainsaw?
No, that's a dirt bike. And most of the analogies in the Bible, most of the metaphors in the Bible are agricultural. And then if you're not living in an agricultural life, you just don't get it. It just doesn't quite sink in. And it's one of the great blessings of living the way that we live is that
Dirt bike.
the Bible makes more sense to me than it ever did because of the circumstances of our existence. I mean, when it says in Genesis that no longer will the soil yield its fruit to you without the sweat of your brow, you're like, oh, that's cute. Yeah, now go dig a garden in, and you get it. It makes sense. Oh, that's why the Lord's Prayer is, give us this day our daily bread. Let us lean not on our own understanding, right? Because there's nothing that's certain. We've had crops that were just beautiful on a Tuesday and beat to hell by hail on a Wednesday. Like it just makes a lot more sense when you live an agricultural lifestyle. So I don't know. We thought we were doing all the things right when we were suburbanites living in North Texas, and it turns out we were just checking the boxes. We're just going through the motions. You know, my idea of faith was showing up to church on Sunday, playing my drums in the worship band, and being nice to people that I didn't particularly care for. Now, a lot of them I loved, but my idea of grace was not punching people in the face when they had it coming. Turns out that's just called self-restraint. That's something you're supposed to do anyway. Little did I know. And that's probably a bit coarse because there were a lot of people at that church that I just absolutely loved. I adored, and I still do. I miss them as much as I miss people from our current church. But we were just checking the box. We're just going through the motions, man. And then you wonder why, you know, God doesn't feel real. And it's like, well, if you treat him like a video game, what do you know, you put minimal effort in, guess what you get out? You reap what you sow. Hey, another agricultural example. So, what else we got going on? I got like one or two more questions in me,
Yes,
and
somebody asked.
then we're gonna have to shut her down.
Oh yeah, I've had this cough since I had the flu, which was three weeks ago. Yeah. It's getting less and less, which I'm thankful for, but still got a little tiny bit. What?
What in
Who
the
dat?
What in the hell? Ken Smith recently dedicated my life to Jesus, trying hard to learn and keep the law. I can't seem to get a clear answer on keeping the Sabbath. Can you explain how to keep Sabbath? So many people explain it differently. No work versus physical activity, etc. Ken Smith, bless you, and thank you for your donation. And I will do my best to explain it to you as best I understand it.
Our interpretation.
Yes.
So, and that's what you're getting is everybody's interpretation.
And so, great point, Ma. Sam, thank you for being here. Now, get out of my face. Thank you for drooling all over my arm. There are 3 commands around the Sabbath. Well, 4 if you go with Exodus 20, verse 8. Remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. Keep it sanctified, keep it set apart. Remember it and keep it holy. And so that day is Yah's day. That day is not your day. It's not your day off. It's not the day to work on the garden or go to Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever. That's Yah's day. Now, on the Father's day, there are 3 commands that go with it. The first is to rest. You are to be restful. 6 days ye shall labor, and on the 7th you rest. Now, that's a double-edged sword, because it also means on 6 days, you better be getting after it. 6 days ye shall labor. It doesn't say drag ass for 6 days and not do it. 6 days you labor, you get after it. And I'm telling you, Friday afternoon by Friday evening, we're like, come on, Shabbat. Oh, I need this Shabbat. Come on, especially springtime on the homestead. Like, it's something that's just magical. It's wonderful. The Sabbath is part of the Moedim, the appointed times. If you read Leviticus 23 and the feasts, you'll see the Sabbath in there as well. It is an appointed time where the Father expects to see you. It's a moedim. It's a time for you and him to get together. And so you are to rest. You are to do no work. Now, what is work is the major point of contention. Biblically speaking, it's what do you earn money at? And a good example of this is if you are a diesel mechanic with a gardening hobby, you can't turn wrenches, but you can go work in your garden. If you're a professional gardener with a diesel mechanic's hobby, you can't work in the garden, but you can turn wrenches. This is, again, an issue of the heart. And so how we interpret this is there are a lot of things on the homestead and in our life in general that don't earn us a damn dime. But when I do them on Shabbat, make me go, ugh. And the moment something makes me go, ugh, I stop. I set it down and I don't do it anymore. And while I may not be profiting from my labor on the Sabbath, if it removes me from my oneness with Elohim, from my relationship with the Father, if it becomes a distraction on his day from him, it's a no-go. It's a no-go. And so you do no work, and nobody does any work for you. Now, I'll give you some small examples. We, in our house, cannot stand dishes in the sink. It is more ugh to me to have dishes in the sink than to not have dishes in the sink. And so, if there's a few dishes in the sink, I'll do them because it's a distraction to me. Even if that could legalistically be considered work, because you're clearly doing something on the Sabbath, it's more of a distraction from the Father and his day to me to see those dishes and get butthurt about it than it is to take 10 minutes and do the dishes. For example, we thoroughly enjoy doing family breakfast together on Shabbat, whereas other people would say you don't cook because that's work. Well, to me, I'm not working. My spirit is in cooking a meal for my family, and there's a oneness there. We're coming closer together rather than farther apart. And so a great benchmark for me is, does this action bring me closer to the Most High or farther away from the Most High? Not just on the Sabbath, but on all days, but especially on the Sabbath. When I do this, does this bring me closer to him or farther away from him? And if the answer is farther away from him, then that's probably not something you need to be doing on the Sabbath day or otherwise. If the answer is it brings me closer to him, so be it. We have one brother who's into RC planes, radio-controlled planes. And on the Sabbath, he likes to work on his planes and listen to me reading the Bible and Pastor Joe reading the Bible and a few other channels, 119 Ministries, so forth and so on. And that is his time in the Word. And he zones out when he works on his planes. And some people might say, well, that's working because he's working on his model airplanes. It's like, yeah, but he's in the Word. And I guess lastly, we all have different benchmarks, bro. My walk is different than your walk. Your walk's going to be different than the next brother's walk. And so much of this is by feel, in that the Torah is something you do. It should be something you read. It should be something you study. It should certainly be something you understand. But above all things, it's something that you do. And the more you do it, the better you understand it. And so I would encourage you to do it, to keep the Sabbath and to execute on self-awareness as you do it. Mm-hmm. That when something removes you from the presence of the Most High, or makes you go, ugh, well, table that. Don't do that anymore.
Yeah, we're always learning.
Hey, that's the point. We're always learning.
Yeah, it's like we'll get this bright idea to do something, and then it's like,
nope.
Not such a good idea.
That was a bad idea.
Let's not do this ever again.
You know, I mean, one could easily make the argument that when I drive 4-ish hours round trip for church on the Sabbath, that's work. but it brings me great joy to be amongst my people.
Well, and, like, remember when we were going to the river?
Yeah.
And we do it was like an hour and a half drive to the river, and then we'd hang out at the river, and then it was like an hour and a half drive to Pastor Joe's, and then we'd be there for services, and then it was an hour and a half drive home. And it was like a full day of driving and sitting, and like where pieces of it were very enjoyable, but the thing altogether, it was like, no,
Yep.
we're not ever doing this again.
Yep.
Let's pick one.
Right. And that the river we called our Shabbat spot.
Yeah.
And it was gorgeous. And there were days we would go there and we would just, and in fact, some of my earliest Bible readings, you'll see me sitting in the middle of a river. That's the Shabbat spot. It's absolutely beautiful. And so, again, does it bring you closer to Yah or farther away from Yah? And are you resting? Are you being restful? And that really is important. For somebody like me that has to be commanded, yo, bro, you don't work on this day. Don't do it. Now, some people say that, well, work is using electricity. Not so much. Some people say, well, work is starting an engine. Not so much. Work for me is breaking a sweat, going UGG, or earning money. And so we don't do business. We go out of our way not to do business. I'm not handling money. I'm not buying things. Nobody that is working for me on Shabbat. We don't do business because that's clearly work. You will not see a video posted by me on Saturday. On the rare occasion, I've probably shot a handful of videos on Saturday, and I've course corrected from that as well. You know, in fact, the videos that I do shoot on Saturday are me reading my Bible. I come down the stairs first thing in the morning, usually about 5 a.m. on Shabbat, and I'll get a cup of coffee and I'll pray and I'll flip open my Bible, turn the camera on, and start reading. And I share that with y'all. And to the extent that I work on the Sabbath, that's the work that I do, and that's it. And so employ as much self-awareness as you can. And again, it's the condition of the heart. It's the eagerness to be obedient to the Father and to learn by doing that I think garners his attention and his respect, so much more so than the legalistic application of the word. Now, here's the thing. The word is tremendous, and it exists for our benefit and for our learning and for our teaching, reproof, and instruction. But there's idiosyncrasies and nuances that exist outside of that word. And by you doing the word, living the word, you put yourself in experience, A, to learn, and B, to plus up your brothers as well. Just like this, right? Because the word says one thing, but because we've lived it and done it, we're in a position where we can, you know, share our knowledge with you and our experience with you. And so do it. Learn by doing. And that's my favorite thing about this particular faith walk, is that everybody who's involved, you are required to be a doer. And because people do, there's much more depth to the understanding because they do it. It's not just something that we read about, we do it. And man, I've been wrong before, and I will probably, very probably be wrong again. And if I am, I will repent over that. I will lay that at the foot of the stake at Yeshua's feet, and I will give that away to him, and I will commit myself to not make that mistake again, and I'll move on.
Yeah.
And I would advocate that you do the same.
Yeah. Because, guys, that's why we have Yeshua.
Amen.
We're gonna mess up.
Absolutely.
Like, that's why he came, and that's why he died for us, is because we can't help it. We're gonna mess up.
I gotta go pee up.
And
preach it, baby.
so
Preach
all
it.
you can do is do your research, do what you're convicted, learn from your lessons, don't do them again, and admit when you're wrong and ask for forgiveness. That's all you can do. And like, I can't tell you how many times T and I have said, uh-oh, we did this and we're not supposed to do this. We don't do it again. There's been several things that, you know, we weren't really sure on. And so we pray and we talk it over and kind of have a discussion on what each of our convictions are. And, you know, there's some things that he feels differently than I do. And so you do the best that you know how to do. And
sometimes you honestly
you'll
make
learn.
mistakes.
Yeah.
I was coming home from Shabbat service one time and I was starving. I don't remember why I was starving, but I was starving. Coming home from Shabbat and I ducked into this drive-thru. I bought a burger. I'm driving home and I ate it. And I just got done and I was taking the final slurp out of my cup of diabetes. And I was like, oh, what? I was like, what am I doing business? The sun is still up. And it didn't even occur to me until I was done. And I was like, confessed it right there. I was like, Father, yeah, I'm so sorry. I got home. I told my wife immediately. I was like, I did the dumbest thing. I wasn't even thinking. I was distracted. And see, that's the thing. I was distracted.
You were being led by your belly.
I was.
The belly of the beast.
The weakness of the flesh. But that's the thing. I was distracted from the Father on his day.
Right.
And what are you going to do? I mean, at that point, what do you do? I'm like, man, I'm sorry. I will never make that mistake again. Please forgive me. And see, that's literally what repentance means. To repent is the Hebrew word teshuvah, which means to turn. So if you repent of your sins, 1 John 3:4, sin is lawlessness, you turn from your lawlessness. Cool. Well, that means turn back to the law. If you're turning from lawlessness, you're turning to the law. Okay, my bad. Like, I was deeply sorry. I'm embarrassed about it even today. We make mistakes. We mess up. It's when you intentionally abuse his grace, which is Hebrews 10:26, that things don't go well for you.
Right. Or
So-
intentionally do something you know you're not supposed to.
Right.
That's when it's like, no, you knew better.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't a mistake. You turned a blind eye.
For if we knowingly transgress the law after we've received knowledge of the truth, there no longer remains a blood offering for your sins. For by the Torah of Moshe, on the witness of 2 or 3, you can be, what does it say? Killed without mercy, basically is what it says. Without compassion. How much more he who has trampled underfoot the Son of Elohim, denied the spirit of favor, and counted the blood by which he was set apart as common. Paraphrasing. Basically, how dare you if you know better? And that's the thing. If you don't know better, you don't know better. If you do know better, don't do it. And if you accidentally do it, repent. So, great question, brother, and thank you. I would have answered that question without that $100 bill. Thank you. But that's how we keep Sabbath is, you know, and actually we did not at all talk about the tactical practical of how we keep Sabbath. I get up early in the morning, I read my word. Everybody else wakes up basically when they feel like it. Usually it's Aspen that is next, followed by my wife and the dog. And then we generally have family breakfast. We do an Erev Shabbat Bible study, meaning at sundown on Friday we do a Bible study. And then we typically play a family game together, and that lately has been Catan, which is a phenomenal board game. And then during the day, I read my word, the kids read their word, and we rest. That's what we do. And a lot of times we go to service. We go fellowship with people that we love. And I like to cook. It's one of the things that I enjoy doing It brings me joy. Again, like people's definitions of work varies. And so I like to cook. And so a lot of times I'll make like a brisket the night before to bring to service, or we'll make a bunch of matzah to bring to service, or some chili or deer chili or something to bring to the potluck at service. And we'll load that up and we'll throw our stuff in the car. We'll pack a bag for the kids and, you know, snacks and distractions, and we'll drive to service and we'll fellowship with people and read the word and hang out and just sharpen each other up and head home again. And that's what our typical Sabbath looks like. But it's intentional time with the Father, intentional time with the family, intentional time in the Word. This is an intentional lifestyle. You have to choose to be this way. It doesn't just happen. But when you do, when you dedicate yourself to the Father and to His ways and His will for your life, man, things get crazy good. They just get crazy. I mean, Deuteronomy 28 sums it up perfectly. If you diligently obey the voice of Yahweh your Elohim, all these blessings shall come and overtake you. Yeah, and there's so much of them you don't even know what to do with it. So, great question, brother. Thank you. Yes, madam. No.
Okay. Paula, you can't. They don't know.
Paula? What are you doing, Paula? What are you doing?
That's a Patreon exclusive.
What? What is Paula doing?
And she said it.
What did she do? Paula? Paula! Oh no, Renee is here. You gotta watch out for that, Renee. She drinks wine out of a sippy cup. Oh no. Oh man. Dairy cow cost? I have no idea, sir. Just need one. You see. Hey, Adapt 2030. Shalom, brother.
Who's been here?
David's here. Shalom, brother David. A phenomenal channel. You guys need to go watch David. And it's okay, Paul. We still love you. I mean, a little less than we used to, but we still love you. It's okay. Man, I've got an...
Anybody can see it that goes to the store. So.
I've got an interview with David on his channel, Adapt 2030. It's not you. Wait, what is it? It's not CO2. It's not you. It's the sun. That's it. Great channel. PJD, we're just kidding. We love you. You're awesome. It's okay. I'm watching you for info. Thank you, sir? Question mark. We do what we can. Hey, man, I'd love to hang out with you again. We should do that sometime. I thoroughly enjoy your channel. There is a unicorn level. It's the $3 level. So, Adapt 2030 is awesome. Great channel. Thank you, Sam. Thank you for licking my face. So, when are you gonna shave the beard? Probably never.
Never.
She's
Never.
actually never seen my chin. In 9 years, she's never seen my chin.
Not even a glimpse of it.
Strychnine, awesome.
What are you digging at?
You can't dig
Watch out.
through the deck.
It's just a piece of plastic. Or paper. You want to eat the paper? Okay. Eat the paper.
Oh, Embro. Yes. He and I have recently spoken on the phone. You're talking about Divine Numerics and the Coming World War by Dr. Michael McGee. Sam, stop.
Sit. Sit down.
Curber, shalom. Embro, yeah. The,
Good boy.
It's in the works. Just put it that way. How long are you going to grow the beard? When it gets to about here, I typically shave it because it's just too much. Expedition Off-Road, shalom. Yeah, Dr. Michael McGee is an extremely smart guy. He's awesome. Extremely smart guy. But he's working on a follow-up to that book based upon new information and new developments here in the world. So, yeah, you hear Rain Cat, you hear the frogs. I'll tell you what, we're
Yeah,
over
we had a little
3
bit
hours.
of coyotes, but
Yeah, Puzzleman. Yeah, you're right.
not much coyotes.
Favorite music to play on drums. Guys, the bands, the vast majority of the bands that I like, I can't play anymore, and y'all would have never even heard of. So, so, how do you plan to cook? Well, we have lots of propane. We have grill and burners that run on propane. We have a stove inside. We have a charcoal grill. We have literal tons of firewood. We have a solar oven that Mark Chase sent us because he's awesome. We have lots. So the music, well, for example, back in the day, during my heathen days, some of my favorite bands were the band Death metal band Death, Dimmu Borgir, 1349, Belphegor, some Mayhem stuff, Ulver. Ulver was a phenomenal band. Opeth, big Opeth fan. And many, many others. Immolation. So, and now, Immortal, phenomenal band. So, good night, overall, Lemon. So, now I play some worship music. And, I play some Christian metal, but it's like blackened death metal in the Christian style. Sleckvalk, I think is the one band. It's like Sleechvalk or something like that. It's a good band. Effector is a power metal band. They're pretty good. But I feel a lot like an indie driver taking his kids to school in the minivan when I play drums these days, because my talent and abilities far outweigh the applicability of what I'm doing with it. So I would really, amongst all the other things that I've got going on, really like to write the music that I hear in my head. So, yes, it was that same look. Oh no, COVID-19.
Ah!
So, what do you say? 3 hours. You want to put a bow on this thing?
Sure.
Let's do it. You ready?
Hey, first off,
Yeah.
say thank you to all the mods.
Yeah, mods, you guys
They've
are
been crushing
awesome.
it tonight.
You guys are awesome. You really are. The Blue Wrenches for the win. Thank you for dealing with the shenaniganry and the asshats. Hey, you don't take incoming fire until you're over the target, right? So, thank you. And thank you, all 500 of you who are still here. That's incredible. Thank you for supporting this channel. I hope that it's understood, or at least the reality comes across, that this is not content that we try and reverse engineer what our audience would like to see. This is a way of life for us. This is how we live. This is what we do. And we are simply stormtroopers. Shalom, brother. We are simply trying to show y'all how we live it, show you guys what we do. And we're trying to document, not create content for y'all. And hopefully in the process, you guys come away with something that's useful and actionable. And I'm just honored and humbled by it. So I say thanks to y'all and call it an evening. You ready? Father Yah, thank you for this. Thank you for everybody within the sound of my voice, and thank you for the opportunity to do this. Father, I know this is one of the things that you told me to do, and I'm glad. Father, if there's anything else you need me to do, just make it clear to me and I'll do it. Thank you for Bear Independent. Thank you for Grindstone Ministries, and thank you for everybody that supports all of these things. Thank you for showing us glimpses of what you have in store for us, for calling us to action, and for putting us in positions that we can be better off today than we were yesterday. Thank you for filling us up. I pray that you'd continue to bless us and that you'd continue to guide us and just be manifested in our life. Pray your peace on everybody within the sound of my voice. And I thank you for this opportunity. In Yeshua's name, amen. Bless y'all. You guys are awesome.
Absolutely. We love y'all.
Yep.
Couldn't do this without you.
Thanks for being along for the ride. You guys are freaking awesome. Shalom.
Shalom.